Broadcasting from a little island in Canada called Montreal to the world, indierockradio.ca.
Well, there I am.
Wow, things are running a little slow tonight, eh? Jeez. Usually I have that more. Usually I have that more seamlessly, you know?
Yeah. Oh, well, we'll have to speed it up sometime or give it a... How are you, Bling?
I'm doing fine, man. As you can see, I'm all ready for summer, man. Got my Stevie Wonder thing going on.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's why I thought for the sake of tonight, I got mine on. And as you can see, I got a little bit of sun and the warm weather
on all those
on us. So yeah, anyway, I don't know how I'll leave these on, but yeah, it's still kind of pretty bright out. So yeah, things are rocking and rolling. I've been out taking care of boats and all kinds of shit. So yeah,
I gotta get Tim Hortons to like sponsor us because I'm always popping back at Tim's every single week on the show.
Yeah, so, you know how many people are trying to do that same thing?
I know, eh?
But
they already know us. Canadians are hooked. It's like heroin, you know.
Well, we would have known years ago. In regards to, I would have bought into the franchise for sure. But anyway, so before I get into our guests and everything else, I did find what I was talking about. I posted on our wall from our last show, you and I, that is. Thanks for John for sitting in there a little bit. So I did. I posted the Ted Nugent guitar that I spoke of. That I was so fortunate to hold. It's on our page. You seen it, didn't you? Right?
I saw it. It's
okay.
Sweet, polished, nice. Where'd you steal it?
There is. Where the fuck is my camera, man? What's going on here?
You're there. I could see
you. There. Oh, it's going away on me. Anyway, there is the Ted Nugent guitar's pick.
Okay.
That I also spoke of. So is it close enough that you can see?
Yeah, okay. It just says his signature, Ted Nugent. Yeah.
Yeah, and then he's got this on the other side. It signifies something, I guess. I'll take it.
Looks like a zebra. It's probably because he's a hunter, and it's probably representing his right to go out and hunt like a typical male.
The other one, let me see if I can find it, Bling, because it's kind of cool too. Because in regards to that, without taking,
before we get too further into this,
go ahead.
We almost forgot to do the intro. Hey, everybody, welcome to the show. This is Indie Scene here with Bling and Junior. You're tuned to indierockradio.ca, and of course, we bring you the best of the independent music circuit from here and around the world. Lots of great guests through the show, and many independent music bands have roamed their way through this wonderful show for the past 35 years, and some have gone off to do grand tours. Some have disappeared. Some are still around, but we just love the music, man. You keep feeding us, and we'll keep taking it. So, look, I have given in a little bit. I wanted to let you know I have given in a little bit because John's telling me that we're getting a lot of people, even though they're bowheads and they don't read, still are sending they're sending us music, and we don't want to reject music because we still want to hear your stuff. So
all right,
now when you send from the main contact us form, it goes to admin. So anything that goes to admin, we will take a look at it, but it is still the proper email to send it through music@indierockradio.ca. And of course, you still have to send it by MP3. And if this is basically the rules and regulations. If you want to be on this show, you got to make our life a lot easier because we're all hardworking jumps, except for Junior, because Junior gets to ride around on boats all day in the middle of the Georgian Bay.
Yes. Yeah, it's a terrible gig, but somebody's got to do it. Very fortunate in having this gig, so it's kind of cool in regards to. But also got some shows that are going to be going on as well. We can talk about it now or a little bit later on.
We'll talk about the shows a little later. I want to talk about who our guest is here tonight.
Absolutely, he's been waiting there.
Yeah, we have
in the green room. They call it.
Yeah,
they call it the green room. Is it green? Well, it can't be a green room if it's somebody's.
It's a green room. We just have a very low budget, so we only use processed cheese. That's all we got on the table. You know what I mean? So
You know what? Speaking of that, hang on.
yeah.
Cheese, since we're saying cheese, just for the sake of the show, cheese whiz. If you take some cheese whiz, if you didn't know this, and put it on, say, a stick, and put it outside, you know that
Yeah.
ants won't even go near it.
No.
And we'll consume this shit. I mean, what the hell? You brought up
Hey,
cheese.
Warren's tuned into the show. Hey, Warren Eastfield, hello to you. Hey, this is our wonderful DJ hosts our 2 amazing shows on the weekend. Of course, one of them being Junior. Come on, man. Let's see if you know your homework.
Are you talking to me? I got to put my this is me. I got to put my reading glasses on now, and now it's really bright.
I know.
Anyway,
you look like a guy with cataracts with those things. Okay.
Yeah,
so,
I know.
Warren Eastfield host a country music show.
So the question is, I'm seeing Warren. Hi, Warren.
Yeah, you know what shows he hosts on the weekend, right? Or am I stumping you?
You're stumping me. Thanks for putting me on the spot. I really appreciate that.
Hey, fucking go ahead.
I'm so busy with all this other shit from
concerts
and shows.
That's okay. I got it.
Sorry, Warren. It's not anything personal. Trust me.
No, 2 hours of country music on Saturdays. You can catch Warren Eastfield from 2 to 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And the show is called Roadhouse. You can also check him out on Sunday afternoons from 2 to 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's if he stays all the way up until 5.
And way to go, Warren. That's great because this new country rock that's out there. So yeah, that's a great idea. So I'll get a chance to listen in sometime.
So he's got that, and the Sunday Oldies matinee on Sunday afternoons where he plays you.
Or is it on us, Mr. Bling? You're at your end. Oh, there you are.
He's got the fun job. He's got the fun show. He really does. And you never heard a DJ talk as much as Warren. He does have the record here at Indie Rock Radio for having the most voice tracks than everybody else.
Okay. I thought you were talking speed because when I end up going down east to visit my parents in Prince Edward Island, the island comes out of me, and they talk really, really fast. So I used to have a thing when I was working commercial radio that.
Are you there? Oh, all righty. Here we go. A little bit of frozen screen. It's starting. Anyways, keep in mind, folks, Junior is still dealing with some computer issues. So we're trying to get him on as best as we can. But, of course, sitting in the background, we have got, there we go. The Helm brothers. John Blakemore popping in. And, of course, our wonderful guest all the way from Mexico City, Scott Bullard from the band After the Lounge. I guess this is where we lead into the name of After the Lounge, right?
I guess so. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you perfectly.
You can hear it. That's good.
Yeah.
You know what? I didn't even realize that we're doing a full video like we were, right? So I just jumped out of the shower and I don't even know if I even did my hair.
Okay, so I just got back from work. I smell like stink eye poots, man.
You guys look so great. I just thought, well, heck, I'll just throw a hat on, no one will even know the difference, right? I'm in my office, nothing's really. So I wasn't sure how we were doing this interview, but I know you guys do different interviews different ways. So it's good to see you guys. How you guys doing?
We're doing great. Here comes Junior.
Junior
back in action. Yoo-hoo.
Yeah. So I didn't get a chance to talk about. I'm actually quickly. Where the hell where am I again there?
We'll just
waiting on a tech. Waiting on
a. Now you guys are on the island, right? Does that mean that you guys actually have like full-fledged like fiber optic to the island, or you guys kind of bouncing off satellites? Or?
No, we are a full-fledged internet radio station, which has been running just before COVID, 2019, November.
I do remember, yes.
This show has been around for 35 years,
really?
hosting for independent music. Yeah, it's one of the longest-running independent music radio shows, and I've been at the helm ever since, man. It's been a long run. I've seen many, many acts, and I wanted to talk about your act, man. I got a chance to check out your videos, your your website and everything. These guys are quite impressive, man. Tell us a little bit more about the band and how you got started.
Well, thank you very much, obviously, and thanks for the email and thanks for the messages, obviously. And you guys, I've watched you a few times. You did play us a few times in the past too, during COVID, especially too, right? So I mean, more people had time to tune in and do a little bit more things. So it was cool to catch you guys. But no, After the Lounge has been around going on 15 years now. We've been all over heck, man, doing lots of great things and still releasing music and still working our balls off, trying to write. And I mean, COVID was a different time, so a lot more stuff happened, when it comes to writing and our new song, The Stars, it's out now. It's a different style of writing for us. It's almost like a B-side that's been pushed out a little bit to radio. It's been good. I mean, we've been having a lot of fun. We get a lot of, and it's people like you and stations like you and your listeners are the reason why we're doing what we're doing still, right? So that's what's important.
Well, you guys got a huge response here at the station. That's for sure. A lot of people dig your tracks. So where did the name After the Lounge come from anyhow?
A lot of people have different things to say about what people ask a lot, right?
It's probably one of those late night drinking sort of things. Yeah.
It was actually it was a song that I actually wrote way back, and we were sort of working on what our sound was and what direction we were playing at that point. And one of the drummer at the time's like, "This is a good name for the band, After the Lounge," right? And I'm like, "Well, it was all about the song was about taking each other home at the end of the night after the lounge, right? And what we're going to do after the lounge." And so that sort of kept the name. So it's all about.
How many times have you been beat up on it being too long?
I don't know. I've had different ones. I've had, people say different things over the years.
I'm not suggesting that, but it does come up, as you know.
I mean, what's a band name or whatever? A lot of times, a lot of people, some of the stupidest band names ever, you listen to the band. But I mean, everybody was like, when we were starting off, everybody was, the this and this and, the Strokes, and everything was always that sort of thing. And what some of those don't even really mean anything, like I mean, obviously they're great bands, but I mean, you'd never imagine what they are because of the sound, right? If you hear like a Dixieland band, a lot of times they have like the Dixieland name in it or something, or a jazz in the name, right? Or something, if they're a band, right? But I mean, it just came up and that's what it was. We stuck to it, and the band got a lot of attention, especially in Germany and stuff like that. And it's always stuck that way. No one's really said much about it, but I mean, naming a band, unless you're a cover band, I mean, what's an original band's name? What's right and wrong for naming an original band, right? Out to what the sound is and what the people are doing. You could be called anything, right?
Yeah.
Oh, sure. Yeah, of course. Yeah. It's going to be an obvious question, I'm sure, that's come across.
Yeah, sure.
Now, you two are both from Ontario here, right? Junior over here is in Georgian Bay area. And whereabouts in Ontario are you guys from?
We're based out of London. We're sort of all based around sort of Hamilton to Chatham area. All the band members over the years have all been around this area. So Southwestern Ontario has always been our main foreground for what we do and what we've been. And but most of the band right now is kind of within London area.
Yeah, you'd be familiar, I guess, friends of mine, Doug Vardy.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
he's a good friend. Noel Lesprance, sax player. I know a lot of people down the London way. Rocket Queen are down that way as well. The Guns N' Roses guy. And, so I know quite a few of them down your way. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, there's lots. And you're up in Georgian Bay. Which technical part of Georgian Bay are you, like Collingwood or?
Just over Wasaga Beachway, Midland.
Oh, nice. Real nice area.
Yeah.
We played Wasaga bike rally when it was going on. We were up in Wasaga for that, so it was good. We've always had fun up in Wasaga. And the banana electric. Is it the electric banana or was it the banana something?
I don't know.
Something like that. We played a bunch of bars up there over the years, but yeah, beautiful area.
Okay. I know what you're talking about. Right on the strip of Wasaga.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Yes. Yeah. The reason why my memory, I'm a former Q107 guy as well. So
Nice.
I recall it that and the Dardanella and whatnot on Wasaga,
Yeah.
like you would be familiar with. Yeah.
That burnt down, I think, a lot of that stuff now, isn't it? It's all gone.
Yeah. Actually, not long ago, the actual beach, it's right up to, if you haven't seen pictures, there's only a walkway, like a sidewalk. The beach has gone right up to what we're familiar with on driving that strip. You can't drive it anymore.
Wow.
Yeah, it's sand.
Yeah.
So,
Unbelievable.
yeah,
That's
I'm
what
very
everybody's right now. Sand and a beach.
You have no idea. Listen, no, Bling, you have no idea, because I always brag about Ontario. And I'm not saying because he's on there. Like I say, there's some true friends of mine that live London way. But this province of ours, it rocks. So we all have a lot of associations with a lot of our buddies and whatnot.
I came off driving back from Calgary one time. I came in from the northern area, I think where there's a Terry Fox Highway or something. It comes down just near the Great Lakes. And I was just coming down this hill, and I don't know which lake. I think it was Superior or something. And the scene, the water was so calm, and it just had these little tiny islands out. It looked like a scene of the Pirates of the Caribbean. Seriously. It was so like, just a little bit of fog along the water and stuff. Yeah, majestic, beautiful. If you've never visited Ontario, folks, you got to get down there and check out places. Junior, where he lives or whatever. That's a pretty cool little place. Georgian Bay is very well known for fishing, right?
Yes.
Well, there's that.
What do you catch out
the
there?
whole country, man. The whole country is awesome. But yeah, when it comes to fishing, like you heard from all the fucking rock stars that we're interviewing, it's almost a must. Are you a fisherman as well, Scott?
Well, I try to once in a while, but I can't say I'm not very good at it. So I'm usually the guy in charge of the beers, Well,
somebody has to be, I guess, right?
Yeah. I was supposed to go last year, and I got myself a license for the first time.
Yeah.
Right.
And I, how many times I actually put a pole in the water last year?
Oh, it's kind of like getting a gym membership, eh?
Right.
Hey, you get that gym membership.
No, it's just that
all gun ho at the beginning,
Bling,
and then you're lucky if you go 2 hours a week, So,
like some of the golf, though, Bling, it's been a great outing for bands and so on. You'd be surprised or not that the amount of rock bands and whatnot. You guys just have are the London Music Awards just coming up or something?
Forest City London Music Awards. Yeah, it's actually the London Music Week, Forest City London Music Week, which is really
great.
It's
a big deal.
Yeah, it's going to be coming up the week of June 19th.
Yeah, I knew it wasn't far away.
Yeah, I help out with the Battle of the Bands for the high school bands. I'm a big advocate for helping the youth get out there and play and stuff. So it's been pretty awesome to do. So we actually have like 8 bands usually, and they're anywhere from 12 to 18 years old almost, and rock bands and stuff. Like they're all like, some last year had influences of the Clash and AC/DC, and then there's some stuff that's some are more folky too and different things like that. So it's been awesome to see. That's for London is actually known well, and I have to make a mention of this, since you made a mention of the actual music awards. London is the only city in Canada that it has its own Hall of Fame for its members from the city. So the London Music Hall of Fame is here downtown, brick and mortar, beautiful place. Lots of great artists out of here. Helix, obviously, there's tons. There's so many.
You guys haven't offered Dolly Parton an award or Run DMC or any of those?
No.
You brought up Helix. My Helix tie is, of course, knowing him from my Q107 days. Elko was the keyboard player in A Foot in Cold Water. So of course, Helix made that a fairly big hit redone. No, trust me, there's a lot of the musicians. You just say Junior LeClaire. I know it's fucking loaded in the London area. Very familiar. Yeah, it's a great place.
So this year's they're actually going to be inducting Rory Dodd, who's actually from Port Dover, but that's sort of the catchment area.
The bike party, the bike rally.
Yeah, it's going to be tomorrow. But Rory Dodd actually was the backup, worked a lot with Steinman and with Meatloaf, and was actually he was on, you guys had Ted Nugent there. Actually, he's on Cat Scratch Fever and backup vocals. He's credited as that.
Yeah.
Rory's from Port Dover, basically just not far from where I grew up, and so he's going to be.
Yeah.
There's so many great artists in this area. Obviously, Doug Vardy's in the Hall of Fame here. There's a lot of great musicians from this area. Everybody from obviously the band like Garth Hudson. So many. There's so many to list off that. But if you guys ever have a chance to come through London, down on Dundas Street is the London Music Hall of Fame. It's absolutely awesome to check out.
I have been, as I say, been to London a few times via shows and of course the radio thing. But I find it funny, unusual that Scott, with what you said there, is it's very real. In regards to, I'm finding in Ontario, and I'm not saying this. Trust me, I've interviewed famous rock stars. In other words, to blow smoke up your ass.
Sorry, I'm not big enough for
you. London area.
Yeah.
And now we're going to come east, of course, to Toronto, because I'm also host at the Rock Pile. I know you're familiar.
Yep.
But once you seem to go more and more east, it's not as effective in regards to bands that have gone to the bigger stage, if you will.
Yeah, I don't know a lot about that. I just know, I mean, there's been so many. You look back in the 80s and the early 90s and stuff. I know I'm familiar with a lot of them, like from Brighton Rock and all those types of guys. I mean, there's so many different groups that were out towards from Whitby area and stuff, and members. I know that. But I mean, I think actually that's a good point you're kind of making, you know, and kind of interesting in an interview to have. But I think that back in the day, people would run to Toronto more. So there's people that maybe were from those areas, that were from the remote areas of around Ontario, but everybody would run to Toronto more. It doesn't seem
right.
It's like if I want to be a movie star, where am I going? Right, I'm going to Hollywood. Right, everybody, I'm packing my bag and I'm going to be a star. Right. So now, I mean,
Toronto tends to want to be New York. Yeah.
Well, it's because we had, as Scott would probably know, depending on the age that you are, Scott, I'm going to be polite that you're a little bit younger than I am. But anyway, we had the Gasworks. We had, when I worked at Q, we had Rock and Roll Heaven. We had Rock Pile East, End, West, and so on. So, of course, the central of Ontario. But it has not changed, though, Scott, in regards to your area. As I say, Uncle with a Foot in Cold Water, yes, they were out of Ajax area, but we're talking like if you go almost to like say Bling's area, Montreal, when we're talking east, but yet the London area, like even Niagara Falls as an example, we don't have that as prime area through this time that I'm referring to. London, so even Windsor and such. So London's been very primary the last 35 years easily.
Yeah, for sure. I think so, and so much. A lot of it's got to do with there's a lot of famous. Obviously, UWO was really good for even on the classical side. There's a lot of people that people don't even realize because there's EMAC here, obviously, that's done a lot of producing. There's been so much for a small town. Really, it has been a small town in the last since I've been here for 20 years, right? So, but basically MIA program at Fanshawe. There was a lot of people that came here to go to school for that too and stayed a little bit. And Oliarch is here too, right? So there's a lot of good recording studios and a lot of good recording programs, right? So that actually helped out a lot too, I think.
Yeah, I was going to ask that. So
tell me something, Scott. Listening to some of your answers here, I guess, what is it that you do besides band or whatever during the day? It sounds like you're either a music teacher or something, or you're very involved with the youth in the community, or
I've been lucky enough that I've been able to sort of always had things to do. Been a lot in done a lot of festivals type stuff, but I've also been involved with the Forest City London Music Awards, which have been great. I've also worked a lot as an advocate to try to get the youth working on stuff. A lot of stuff besides that. I've done a lot of other side jobs and stuff when it comes to music too. Outside After the Lounge, I do a lot of solo pop-ups and stuff like that. I even sometimes jump up and do stuff for the older people with some Sinatra and stuff too. So I've been lucky enough to be able to keep myself busy, right? Where some people just sort of focus on one thing. And when ATL sort of stopped touring is Ontario back, especially since COVID, we also had to find a lot of other things to do too, which is kind of what a lot of people
got very creative during that time. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And I went from I went from 85 shows, not just at Rockpile, but as an example, 2019 to 0, Scott. So yeah, this is it's been quite a trip. So have you guys been down there? I've only been there since 2018 as a main host. So have you played Rockpile?
No, we were asked a few times, and who was running Rockpile? Is it Surge? Is that, or who was running?
The owner is Dom. The owner is Dom.
Dom. Okay, so we've been asked a few times, but we've never have, and it's kind of one of those things now where, over the last few years, we were supposed to be part of something about 3 years ago, I think, at the Rockpile, but it never worked out. But there's was always through a promoter that was messaging us that we've been asked a few times over the 5-6 years, maybe.
Two of the main there are the main for the bigger band, Steve Hogue. And Tamara handles the other, so it might have been Steve Hogue.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, and I know that we've talked about a bunch of different stuff that were there, and we've been asked to. Yeah.
Well, let's get your ass down there, man. Come on.
Yeah. We're looking forward to it. I mean, we've been lucky enough to come out of a lot of this and with some good shows. I mean, and getting it feels really good to be out. And I've actually had this conversation a few times in the last couple of days. You actually feel really good about where things are heading, I even put it on my Facebook yesterday, like shows. Let's keep this positivity going with a nice big red rose, right? Like let's hope this is where the right direction that we're going. I think it seems like it is. Right. And which is good because it's also for us, we're always playing with because we have a classic rock style. The band's been around for a while, even though we're still releasing music. We're always tagged up with the April Wines, the Troopers, the Great Whites, and stuff like that. Now you see there's like everybody's coming out of the gate. Everybody that even said they were never going to tour again are touring again. It's like
Elton John was supposedly retired a while back.
Yeah,
and, he's still good at
it. We're calling it the Rock and Roll Retirement Fund Tour.
Yeah, it's like we're so lucky because I mean, there were so many bands that we haven't played with. We've never played with Nazareth. We had a chance once to play with Nazareth. Again, I've always wanted to play with the Tragic Hip. Unfortunately, that was one that's sad. But I mean, there were so many bands that we wanted to play with over the years, and all of a sudden they're like, "Oh shit, we're retiring," right? So you're like, but there was a lot, and then
you got a big show coming up, I think, with Buck Cherry. Is that it?
Playing with Buck Cherry, here in London at the Music Hall. A lot of Music Hall is a great place. We've done lots.
Oh, it absolutely has been there many times. I was going to say though, and reflecting back to what you just said a minute ago, Scott, that's what we had found, and you would be aware of this. Obviously, you're tied in there. That once the American bands start coming again, then we are starting to open up. So. Even though Pat Travers, as an example, is Canadian, he lives in the States. So we have him coming. We have Gilby Clarke coming. And, of course, I've done shows with Buck Cherry, and I was very well aware of. And that's great to hear. But I knew they were coming your way. And you're on the bill with them?
Yeah, we're on the bill with them. It was awesome funny. It was actually May. It was supposed to be last night. It was the second one that they were pushed away. Actually, the third one they pushed back. But the very first one was in 2020, in May 14th, 2020, and COVID hit, and it wasn't being moved, and the promoter messaged me and said, yeah, we got to move it because this is not going to happen, obviously. And then all of a sudden, everything just sort of after that, because there was a whole, you're in March 15th or 13th, it was like 2 weeks to flatten the curve, right?
Yeah. That's
and I don't know about you, but there's still a lot of curves, and it's been going on for about 2 years now that there was like what were these curves and how that fit and how that worked.
That's what was happening. I can recall one show where we were good, and then within 2 hours we're shut down. Well, it was actually Robbie from Eyes of Alice.
Yeah.
So it's and you know what, when we interviewed Miles Gilman a few weeks ago, there's something that's and it's obviously just been in talking with you in the years you've been involved. We always would have thought, Scott, that like he had stated that music and live music would be there no matter what was going on. And this has changed so much. When I talked to Lee Aaron, as an example, though, some, of course, quite well, they were forced, so to speak. But anyway, look to a positive and go to the creative side and go into the studio. So let's talk about your band. You said you're fortunate to get some radio airplay your way and whatnot. In my notes that I've taken here, you said you guys have been together. Is it over 13 years, Scott?
Yeah, it's going about. I mean, technically, the band started forming, started doing stuff in the late or in the early sort of 2000s, right? What we kind of know of now and what we've been doing is basically been the last 15, going on 15 years now.
Okay.
But yeah, no. Do you want me to talk about what particularly do you want me to talk about what we did during shutdown?
Well, I want to talk about your band, for fuck's sakes.
Yeah.
That's what I want to talk about. Instead of everybody else, they'll get some history on the band.
Yeah, that's it. So tell us a little bit of history, how you guys got together and stuff, and how was this all put together? There must have been a lot of growing pains and stuff along the way, of course.
Honestly, the way the lineup is right now, you know, a lot of it actually has to do with the area that we're in. I'm not gonna lie. You know, there's people that you're playing with, you know, you hear about bands that have been together forever, and you know, and it's you know, we were a touring cover band. There's been, you know, there's a lot of different members. I was always a lead vocalist, I was always the front man, and I was always the leader of the band and stuff. And so there's guys right now that have been in the band for over 12, you know, for 10 years, 12 years. But I mean, there was also, you know, a lot of the greater times different times that we go through different runs, and we had, you know, some albums and stuff come out. Some people, you know, had a kid and we just turned and said, I'm done, right? I can't tour anymore and I got to do this. And
yeah, of course.
you know,
you get that.
There's a lot of, you know, the original guy that started with me with Brian Parsons, you know, he was the same way. He started the band with me. We wrote a lot of stuff together, and he's like, I'm going to get married. I'm going to have kids, and this is going to be different for me. I don't want to be traveling. I don't want to wake up, you know, on Blue Mountain Resort on a Sunday and then have to drive for another 3 hours and hear it when I get home or something. I don't, not particularly him saying that, you know, hearing it from his wife or something, but I mean, you know, he wants, there's a lot, it happened over the years. So through the years, it's been some different changes in members and stuff like that. And, but the sound's always sort of been in the right direction. And writing wise, I mean, we've had a lot of fun during different times. There's some times where you just go, oh man, this stuff's not really working right over, you know, so many years. And I know all bands go through that. But I like to, I want to release music, and I want to record music and put stuff out to radio and put different things out, and for different platforms, especially with streaming now, pretty much until the day I die. Right. So, I mean, a lot of
bands do primarily most of the writing, Scott.
No, it's right now we've got a lot of the work that's been sort of set up has been all four of us collaborative, like was really been good. So, Jeff,
so which style of writing is it? The lyrics that start you because of the different styles, of course. Is it lyrics come down first, or
sometimes it does, and then sometimes it's the songs are. So the guitar player Jeff Kikut, a lot of times it's been riffs that he's come up with. I hear it and I'm like, I've kind of been working on a song in my head, or I've got it on my phone that would kind of work with that.
Sure, yes.
Lyrically, the melodies I've been working with. So that's pretty much how most stuff has been done in the last going on almost 10 years.
All right.
And then when we sort of all four of us get a hold of it, we sit and work it out. And Paul Levelholtz on bass. He's been fantastic to writing with too. I mean, he's been, you know, we've also grown a lot in the last, especially during COVID too. I think we grew a lot.
I think everybody did.
Right. I think everybody got a different style. We also, you know, you also got frustrated. Like I kind of got frustrated with everybody and kind of said, you know, this is what's working. This is what's not working. Why aren't we doing that? Like, and it wasn't really directed at anybody particularly. It was like, why the fuck are we not doing this? Why is this not working this way? And that's kind of even how the Stars came about, right? Which is our latest single.
Well, because it's funny that you were just talking about that, Scott, because I do have it queued up over here. And tell us a little bit about that song to start. Bling's always got it under control. Yeah,
it's
great
stars. The stars for us was you can't say it's a COVID. It's a product of COVID, but you can say it's a product of us maybe just not worried about writing direct for radio. It's not supposed to be a 3-minute song. Oh my God, I won't play that because it's not 3 minutes. It's not supposed to be targeted as a hit. It's supposed to have it's got more of a Spotify or a streaming service sort of platform where people could be considered a B-side song, where people are actually hearing you playing for a while, and it's actually like a thick song. So actually the song is like over 6 minutes, but technically the song, when we did actually play it and we were working on it, because we were getting together and we were going through things even when we weren't supposed to be, we would all and Paul was one of the ones that was like, he was like, I'm going to wear a mask and I'm going to go in the corner, and that's what we're, and that's how it's going to be. And we're all like, whatever, man, whatever anybody wants to do. And Rob McKecker on drums, which I didn't mention either, but Rob was, he was pretty laid back. We were all 6 feet apart. We sort of did our thing, and it's like, this is what we're supposed to do, but we're allowed to get together because we're going to be recording a live stream, right? So you have to get together.
Some in that aspect, though, Scott, in that we're staying in that smaller social bubble.
Yeah,
as well. So, and I respect it too. So I even know of maybe like you, bands that split up because of the belief of. Yeah. So it's been a tough one, regardless.
Yeah, but I mean, but this is in the start of COVID, when people, when we're like right now, we don't even realize what we went through when you talk about.
I agree.
When you talk about March, you talk about how like you're not allowed to go outside your door,
exactly.
And then all of a sudden it was allowed where you're allowed to stream, or you're allowed to make a movie, you're allowed to make a music video, and then we're all looking at it. And I was kind of lighting a fire under everybody saying, we got to keep moving, we got to do what we got to do. But then we'd end up canceling because you weren't allowed even just to do that. And then again, there's a guy like Paul, his wife's a nurse and stuff like that. I mean, he was one of the ones that was like, hey man, this is serious stuff, right? So and we all kind of had to go that way too when it comes to certain things. So we all took things serious, but out of it all, we ended up becoming different writers. We actually had a Zoom, we actually sat like this and talked through things where we wouldn't have spoke maybe for like 3 or 4 or 5 days. And then we would have got together and worked on something for 3 hours. We actually were like focusing on stuff. We were, emailing stuff around. Someone was doing something on their phone. That's where the stars, that's why this is a product of like a new way of writing, a new way of playing, a new way of being a band, right?
Kind of is, isn't it?
Yeah. So the song technically was like 8 minutes long because we were just enjoying ourselves writing a fucking song, right? I mean, we were enjoying ourselves and the creativity and that structure of that song was basically on the guitar side was all Jeff Kiku. Like it was one that we went and we put all together and adjusted stuff, but it was one that he gave me over COVID, and I just sat down with it and I'm like, and I actually had a song in my mind about the stars because in July of 2020, I was out on a bridge in Purple Hill after a concert in the middle of the night, and I was like, wow. And it was like an emotional time too for me too, because it was like, COVID, you couldn't see your parents, you couldn't do different things.
Right.
And that's where the song
you can always see the stars, right?
Yeah. And they were shooting all over the freaking place, man. They were like all over the thing. And so that's kind of where a lot of how that came about. But I can ramble on.
I can dig that kind of inspiration.
So let's take
it makes sense.
Yeah. Okay, so we're going to take a listen to that right now, and we're going to come right back to this interview. Ladies and gentlemen, we have our special guest here, Scott Bullard, from, of course, the band After the Lounge. And here's a song called Stars for you here on IndieRockRadio.ca. You're tuned to Indie Scene with Bling and Junior. And yeah, John every once in a while pops in here. He's in there like Flynn. Well, here we go.
With the stars, yeah, they lie bright
Nicky.
in the sky tonight. Yeah, they're all above us. Let them beam down on us, and they'll fall down on us. Ooh, and we'll catch them if they fall.
Oh, come on. Are you kidding me?
With the stars, yeah, they lie bright in the sky tonight. Yeah, they're all above us. Let them beam down on us, and they'll fall down on us. Ooh, and we'll catch them if they fall.
Right
Just like that.
That's good. Bling.
Bling, talk to us, Bling. Are we there? We are there. Anyway,
Bling's
yeah,
mic-
great video.
Bling's
Where was
Bling's
that?
mic-
Where was that?
Bling's
Where
mic's
was
off.
that?
Mute himself.
Oh, there you are.
No, my mic is on, isn't it?
Oh, there you're on now. There you're
Okay,
back.
so there we go, folks. After the lounge, yeah. After the lounge and an amazing song called Stars, and man, that is real kick-ass. You know what I realized as I was listening to it, is your voice is very similar to the lead singer of 5440.
Yeah, I've heard that
Your
before. Yeah, a few
style
times, yeah.
is not
Yeah.
exactly the same, but very similar. Yeah,
Yeah, thank you.
That's it.
Yeah, that's a great band.
but-
So
yeah, and that's a compliment, definitely. You know,
Thank you. Thank you.
one of kind of those great bands. Also, great to see that you guys are representing Canada large too. You're planning on going on tour for the next little while, eh?
Yeah, we've been working on quite a bit of stuff.
Can you
Actually,
hear me?
it's going to be a good year.
Yeah.
I can hear you. Yeah, I think it's going to be a
Yeah.
good year, and I think the fall's going to be even better. I know there's tons of bands
Mhm.
we're in talks with. There's tons of promoters we're in talk with too. So, 5440 obviously one that we've had good conversations with their management and stuff like that, and just sort of
Mhm.
following where they're going and what they're
Mhm.
doing too. But I think it's going to be. I think
Yeah.
it's going to be a good fall. For instance, right? I know for we do have festivals coming through with the Trues and other ones. So I
Mhm.
know there's going to be. I think it's going to be a good fall. I think it's going to be an indoor good fall winter. We're going to stay,
Mhm.
comfortable with where we're at, which is helping. So, which is nice because again, you bring out songs, and that song is for you to listen to and watch, especially too, right? It's a song for people. It's a performance, right? And that's kind of different for most people. They kind of rip off like a 3-minute song, and here is just a radio, right? We want something that had some meat to it. And again, because across the world we're getting a lot of streams, right? I mean, in the most weirdest streaming platforms we never even heard about. There's like 50 different platforms that we're being played on right now, all over. And this,
Well, yeah, you're not on TikTok? Oh my God.
yeah, like even TikTok too. It's like they're all on, but I mean, like Pandora, all these different ones that are like all across the world. There's ones that are in Asia. We're getting a ton of play in Asia, and Ngami. It's called Ngami. Like there's iTunes and all these different things that we have here we take for granted, like Facebook and TikTok and stuff in North America. There's hundreds of platforms like that in China and Asia and all across different parts too. So we've been doing well. So that's this is sort of presented as something like that too. So but I do have to give a big shout out. I should have talked about when I was talking about the song. We did Darius Saponiak is the one that produced that song, engineered that song too. The guys down here at EMAC did a little bit of work on it too. Got to give them a big shout out. But we've been working at Phase 1 in Toronto mostly, and it's been fantastic. And Darius has been a really good friend to us and been really solid in especially during COVID. He was one of the ones that like, this is what you guys got to do. These are what's going to happen, right? So got to give a big shout out to them because I mean it sounds fantastic. Our recordings sound fantastic, which is a lot to do with Darius, and we've been happy with it. Obviously, you've heard a bunch of our previous recordings too. So
safe to say the video was shot in your home area.
Yeah. So that was an old warehouse actually where they're building the Hard Rock Cafe. That warehouse there will be at Hard Rock Cafe here in London. They're building a massive hotel, and Kellogg's here, good friends of ours. I was looking for an abandoned building that used to be the Pillsbury building. I think where they made Pop-Tarts at one time, believe it or not.
Yes, I do believe it. We have one in my hometown here. But anyway, yeah, go ahead.
And then Purple Hill, Purple Hill, where the song came up with, where the idea of the melody and the vocals and stuff like that. You see that bridge and stuff like that. That is the actual bridge. And the couple is actually out there having a fire by the spot that where it came up with. So it was a lot of fun to do the video. Adrian Alessandro, fantastic. He's been doing some great stuff for us too. We got a bunch of other recordings and stuff that are going to come out, a bunch of new films and stuff too. So
Mm-hmm. Oh, excellent. So these guys been busy, man. Most people have we're more like creative in songwriting and stuff like that throughout COVID, but you guys have been waiting for the gates to open and kick some more ass. It sounds to me like
And
you got a lot of defects in the works, movies, and
we've been focusing on
many
writing
things.
as much as
Do you have
possible.
an album coming out sometime too, or what?
See, that was the thing, and we
Sorry.
bit of a delay.
Yeah, it was a little bit of delay. Sorry for the interruption there.
So
Yeah.
basically 2020 was like a wash, right? We did do some stuff. We came up with some ideas. 2021 was like, okay, guys, why don't we continue on? Why don't we work on all these songs that we've got? We've been working on 3 or 4 different ideas. Next thing you know, it was like 6 ideas. And I said, why don't we just do like an EP? Why don't we go focus on stuff? I talked to Darius. I'm like, let's engineer some stuff in London, because he always comes down and spends a weekend with us too. Here we work on stuff, and then we'll go to phase 1 and finish it up and stuff, right? And in Toronto and spend a weekend up there. And it just never, the stars came about, and how much time we actually had to go do things. The stars came about, was excellent.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, I think we might start tracking a few of the other songs for maybe something to be released in the next year or so. But there's been so much. We don't even know. Like, I don't even know. I want to focus at where things are for us and what we're doing. So, especially with the streaming platforms, right? So if people want to hear it and people are looking up our back catalog stuff,
it's a whole new world with this stuff.
Things have changed a lot, and both you guys know that.
Releasing tracks now instead of albums is quite popular.
Yeah. And
one cool thing you were mentioning earlier, Scott, that the song being 6 minutes or 8 minutes long. Over here at Indie Rock Radio, we really don't care how long the song is, as long as it's good. And definitely, I find sometimes the longer the song, the more creativeness comes out of a song. I hate that when shit gets so compressed and it's kind of like, you got tracks coming out, and I'm going to be straight up with it or whatever and say that there's tracks that come out. It's like, I can't feel my face when I'm with you. To me, this doesn't make any difference other than the old days with disco, where you would just repeat a lyric over and over and over again with a beat background, In fact, even American Bandstand, remember those days? Every week, what Dick Clark would say to that couple, he would pull up on stage. He goes, "So, what'd you think about this new track?" And they go, "Well, it had a really good beat. It was easy to dance to." They would say that every single week, and it's great to see creativity, like great bands like yourself or whatever, still keeping that, saying, you know what, you don't have to be old school, just having your own sound. And that's what's incredible about After the Lounge. As I discovered these guys, I said, you guys definitely have their own sound. They sound like After the Lounge. They don't sound like this band or that band or whatever, except for, like I said, I did catch the 5440 in your voice, but in general, the songwriting and the music itself or whatever, it's incredible. I love the creativity, the talent, and it's taken many years to get here too, hasn't it?
Well, and it has.
What's your greatest?
Go ahead.
What's your greatest rock and roll moment throughout your career right now? Tell me, what's your greatest rock and roll moment?
It was 2011 or 2013. We played with Three Doors Down and Finger 11 in Sarnia, and
okay,
we're riding along when we always had a van and trailer and stuff like that, that we toured with and stuff, and we roll in with our friggin' van full of people and our merch girls and stuff like that. We pull in. There's between these people, I get up to the gate, right? And they're like, yeah. I said, we're After the Lounge. All right, yeah, come on in. We get in. There's these 2 big tour buses, and we park our little thing there, right? And that was the way it kind of always was. But this was just always more like at the time, right? Because it was, for some reason, it just stuck out more. Because we never really, we played with some big names, but we never really were just like, it was like, there's like these buses like this, and then we pull in. We're like, we get out. So anyway, so we play our set, and there's a great time. We get off stage, and there's a bunch. Had a few people that were with us behind stage and stuff, and the bass player from Three Doors Down goes, hey guys, it's good to see you. And I'm like, oh, it's a Miller Lite, my favorite. Oh yeah, it's good stuff. We got big Nashville accents and stuff, right? We hadn't met him yet, and because they still were just getting ready to go on. Anyway, he comes off the bus and hands me, and there's a photos that's always bounced around, hands me a case. So then we just sat and drank, and they went and played, and then we sat in their bus and drank with them until they left. Right? It was awesome. But Finger 11 still never spoke with us. We play with them. They don't speak to us for some reason. But anyway, they're great guys, and I love the sound. But but these guys were like all over, and they're like the biggest stars there were in North America at one time, right? When it comes to touring and stuff. And the guy comes off and because I said I like that beer, he hands that to me. He sat there and the nicest guys, man. And that was probably for me awesome because why do they need to do that, right? Why do people need to do that? Maybe that was a Nashville thing, a Southern boy sort of thing, but they were really nice.
Because they were the band once that drove up with the van.
I guess so, yeah.
Everybody's been there, man. I
guess so.
The tour bus comes after, but you know what they don't realize is like when you get to that level where you get the record label and all these big promoters and everything. Frank Marino from Mahogany Rush interviewed him once, and he said it best. He says, you know what? Who the fuck is paying for all this stuff? So trust me, keep it at your level. It's about the music, man. All that fluff and the tour buses and all this stuff. Honestly, the bill comes to you in the end, so
that's the truth. We heard that from many local rock stars.
Definitely. Yep. So, and this is why we love promoting independent music, is because running as an indie, you definitely are in control of your career. Whereas before, the record labels would control everything but keep you in the dark, and that would be it. At the end of a 2-year tour or whatever, and they're asking for another album, they're going, oh, but you owe us this. Because you're going, okay, you want a new album? We need some money. We haven't seen any money from this. Well, let's go over that now. And so on. So, Junior, go ahead.
I was just going to say, but a lot of them though, they are wearing all different hats now, because you are correct. There was a time when you were signed that you were given a budget to maybe be a video of $20,000, and so I'm just kind of keeping it brief, if you will. But now a lot of them, they can do it, quite frankly, out of their basements. And you're right, Scott, about, you can go to Phase One or go to Metal Works or somewhere and have somebody be able to finish your product and whatnot. But and even things you talked about. The point being is a lot of the people now, to a greater deal, not the famous people to this great that are really making it, but you're having to wear a lot more hats now to get yourself out there now. It's been like that for what, 20 years now, at least, almost.
It's been honestly, we've had so many opportunities for stuff to be outside, and every time we've sat down with people, it's never really made sense. There's so much to teach. The youth right now is pretty lucky. Mario Cercelli, actually, who's runs he's the chair of the Forest City London Music Awards. He said it to me just recently. He goes, I would give anything to be, a teenager again, 14, 15, and just be wanting to play. He goes, because there's so much platforms. Somebody can go on. You can go on. There's just so many things on a phone that you can do. And there's so many platforms, and there's so much stuff. And to get into that, where you guys know, and you've been with Q107 all the olden days, you used to get like a 45 cent to you, or you used to get a tape sent to you, or whatever was that. And that, so we brought out a record, right? And it's like, that was it. You had this record, and everybody went and bought that record, and that was great, but that was it, right? And if you got
we had the homegrown, you're right. The tapes came to us, and you had 7 seconds.
Yeah. And it's like, but now there's so many ways. And that's where, again, this is the stars. You're telling me that indie rock loves the stars, and you'll play that stuff like that because you want to hear stuff and it sounds good and you want to hear it. Well, that stuff didn't
definitely
exist.
And also
now, right?
Well, listen, I mean, look, I've been doing radio. Junior's been in this game for a long time. I've been in this game for 35 years myself. And I can tell you, and when me and Junior first spoke, I said it. The whole reason, the format of the station, the reason why I wanted to do this is when you work in mainstream radio, you're told what to play, told what to say. You're told, and you're under constraints and everything there too. And there's this little click, you know what I mean? So an artist like you will come in, they'll play 7 seconds of your song and call it supporting indies. I don't believe in that shit. I believe that you belong there alongside Aerosmith, Led Zeppelin, AC/DC, all of them, and you fit right inside the pattern. And I don't give a shit how big a band thinks they are or how legendary and so on. I believe that everybody is just doing this because they love.
But Bling, Scott has a point though. Like he has a very good point though, Bling. All the platforms have changed now. So I am seeing, just like he's saying, in our way. As an example, Tim, the drummer from Lee Aaron, they're doing a thing that you donate instruments to help out the kids. We featured a 12-year-old at the Rock Pile that does Iron Maiden like nobody's business. We brought Liliac, if you're familiar, Scott. It's a whole Partridge Family band. Have you heard of them, Liliac?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, check them out. They do, and this is you would know as a vocalist. If you check them out and check them out doing Ronnie James Dio, and you know how difficult it is to sing that. Incredible. Point being, these kids, when we brought them, thanks to Steve Hogue, to the Rock Pile for their debut in Canada, their ages were like this. Guitar players, 16, 15, 13, 12, and 9. And they're a Partridge Family of heavy metal. And to end it on that, and the point with the kids, take off of the music that we're referring to in the age. It's incredible. Like Greta Van Fleet. Anyway, that Liliac went and got support from Gene Simmons himself. So how fucking good is that?
Right.
You know, so it's great to see that the kids, and I like hearing what you're talking about. I was familiar because, like I say, I with the association of other friends your way, that how much is being done. That's why I was very well aware of the London Music Awards. Been around quite a long time, if I'm not mistaken, as well.
20 years this year. Yeah, they're celebrating years. Yeah. But it's this sort of, back to what you were saying there, like your indie rock station, stuff like that existing now is the future, and it gives so much more platform. So, you know, again, thank you for that, obviously, because you guys even turning to me, calling me up or whatever, and saying, hey, listen, we like what you guys are playing. We want to play it, and we'll play your 6-minute long song because we want to hear it. We want people to hear it. People want to listen to stuff, right? So that's where things are so much better in what we have going on in the future. But people are always say, you know, well, there's not, you know, live music's dying, all this type of stuff. I think it's just a big change in how it's being presented. And I think that, and again, you know, you and I right now, I can tell you, hey, check this out. And you can walk away with your phone and you can listen to it after. You can listen to your station on your phone. You know what I mean? So many more things that you just couldn't do ever. And again, someone's bringing out a record, and this is our record. We put this record out, and that's it, right? There's 12 songs or whatever, 15 songs that we recorded, and this is the album. That's all. And that was it. But there's so much more now happening that I think it's going to be a good. I think the kids nowadays, especially if they write and record and they keep the quality the way they should be, and not use those apps in thinking that they're actually making an album, but they actually continue to have good recordings. I think the platforms are so. I think that there's so much stuff out there for people.
Definitely. Well, listen, I want you to plug. You have some upcoming shows. Of course, you were talking earlier. You got an up and coming show with Buck Cherry. What else you got lined up for the next little while?
Buck Cherry's our next one.
Are you coming to Montreal?
No, but I want to. And I did. I'll tell you one story about Montreal really quick. I was there with an energy drink that was one of our sponsors way back. They flew me there, and I was there at a party at the W Hotel, and I couldn't understand French at all enough to be able to have a conversation. But there's all these beautiful women, and I'm just sitting there talking with the two owners that are with me, and there's all these beautiful women around, and I'm just like, I'm sort of, I felt out of place, and then the one guy kept saying, well, she said this or she said that, right? And I'm like, oh yeah, and they kind of smirk. And then you say Ontario, a lot of them were like, whatever. And then I said, well, I just kind of disappeared. I just ran up the tab a little bit because I didn't have to pay, and I disappeared. I'm like, I'm gonna go find a pub or somewhere where I want to be. I'm in Montreal, right? And I only been there like a half dozen times. So I literally was walking down the street and found two girls from PEI. We went to the pub. It was an all English pub. I was like, what the hell's going on here? This is amazing, right? I got up and I sang the Tragically Hip with the acoustic guy that was playing. Wow. That was awesome. And that was one of my first times in Montreal.
Oh, nice.
And it was just an amazing time. And I look forward to going back there. And I know we've been talked. I know the Piranha and all that stuff. I mean, we've talked with them all over the years. Just never really lined up, right? So,
yeah. Well, listen, I'm going to tell you something about Montreal. A lot of people don't know about Montreal, but if you look back at Canadian history, we're all Canadians here. Montreal is one of the oldest cities in Canada. And one of the cool things, I've lived everywhere. I've lived in Calgary, all across, down that way. I've been to Toronto 100 times. And I could tell you something, Montreal, what's cool about it is that, yes, it's one of those places where you can find everything. So it's all hidden things. It's kind of like New York City in a way where you can, you'll go into a little club in Soho or whatever, and all of a sudden find somebody, doing something, or some really kick-ass great band or whatever. It's there's so much to do here. And literally, the one cool thing about us in Ontario is that our clubs stay open till 2. And then even then they have after hour clubs that open up at 1 and close at probably 10:30, 11 in the morning. So you can literally have yourself a good
changed here. We're open later now in Ontario.
Oh, yeah?
Too late.
Oh, yeah? These guys are open past 11? Yeah? Oh, okay.
That's when most of our headliners go on, right, Scott? 11.
Yeah, and that was actually we just played our season opener show, right? And it was like we went on at 11:30, and I had people messaging me going, "What time you go on?" I'm like, wouldn't tell them, right?
Yes,
because we're still sort of 1 o'clock, and then the bar's open till 2. But most band, there's been a lot of stuff that's just been like bands have been ending at 1, right? Which has been kind of good because I mean it is. The late nights and stuff like that. I mean, I'm not. People aren't even really used to it again, either too. So going out and most people were like Netflixing it, like and passed out by 11, right?
So with that in mind, how many shows have you kind of had the idea so far been able to do, Scott? In the last little while.
Well, this year we've only done 1, so we do have we've got probably about 15 in the works right now. Like I said, some outdoor festivals. We've got a bunch of rib fests and stuff like that. We've been playing with Kiss Destroyer. We're playing, like I said, with the Trues. We got actual inside stuff coming up sort of in the fall. But we're basically playing. We've got shows, about 15 shows from Windsor to Toronto. But again, we there's some, just trying to line up the right stuff has been, and get back into the swing of things.
Well, everybody's so hot to trot to get out right now. That's the whole point in every aspect, as you're very well aware of. I mean, just before we had you on there, we were talking in regards to everybody, so many of the bands that are out, and some were fortunate to get signed with RFL Records that are getting out. So it's getting nice to almost and you like I'm saying and you're saying, we're very touched with what's going on in Ontario, Scott, but it is kind of a weird but yet feeling of we're getting out and going to be normal at all this again. So I can't wait to breathe fully. With that in mind, in the venue that there, how are the people? Is it half people with masks on or not?
No, and I'll say, I think the rock side of stuff, I'll say rockers are cool, right? So for the most part, I mean, people are still they're protecting themselves, but at the same time, I think a lot of people are just happy that things are opened up, right? So I haven't seen when the couple of times that I've been out in the rock bars, as we start getting into where we are now, I think I haven't really seen a lot of people too much with that. There's people that are just keeping to themselves, though, you can still see. But I mean, I think we're past that. I think we're past the mask thing, which is good.
I don't agree. I think it's going to go on for a while. I'll tell you why. I did a simulcast thing because I hosted. Unfortunately, I'm not sure if you'd be familiar with Phil Naro that passed away.
Yeah, I saw that on my Facebook.
So the family and who he was associated asked me to host a tribute show for Phil. He's hooked up, of course, with people like Billy Sheehan and also Ron Thal, Bumblefoot. I'm sure you're familiar.
Yep.
So why I bring that up in interviewing and talking with Ron during the tribute and whatnot, he has been wearing a mask in his travels, Scott, for the last 8 years because of in the travels of not knowing, we'll keep it short here kind of thing, but we'll call it, obviously there's the germs that are possibly out there. So yeah, he's been wearing the mask for quite a while. I guess for those that believe, but in the health thing, that's one example of somebody in world travels that continues to wear the mask. So
yeah, I can see people do, like you go to Metro or you go to a grocery store.
We got 2 days left.
Yeah.
What's that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
you got what?
We got 2 days here left in Montreal, but we got 2 days until they remove the mask thing, mandate. But what they are keeping is on public transport, like buses and stuff like that, and hospitals or any sort of government offices. You still got to wear it. Meanwhile, so far, I think things have been all right. Our cases haven't been too high or whatever since. There's been. I think people are just, they went through hell through this whole thing, and it brought out a lot of deep depression in people.
Well, Scott brought it up earlier, Bling.
Everybody was prepared for this.
Well, we would be. Scott brought it up earlier, and he's right. And even the few interviews that we've had, and even our own points of view here, we don't know, and it has affected us whether we fucking like it or not.
Yeah.
We can only hope that it hasn't been. We can't speak for everybody, and I speak for myself in a terrible way. Unfortunately, I was kind of like this on it, but yet I just recently had an uncle that passed away from COVID. So does that make me want to believe that that's very real? Well, in the safety thing, I guess in all of this, Scott, I think cautionary is not a bad thing. So I guess when we can kind of get back to what we call normal, I guess it's going to take some time.
Yeah, for sure, 100%. But there's people walking. I mean, there's UWO students walking up and down the street right now, with masks on the street by themselves. I mean, there's people all over the place going to be wearing them, especially older, right? You visit people in an old folks home, you're still going to do a test before you go in.
Indoors is different, though. I would say that from what I would think, indoors would be different, and I'm going to wear a mask indoors.
Yeah. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, right? It all depends on how you feel, what you're feeling.
I say, listen, we're all adults here.
Yeah,
we're all adults here. I think it's a personal choice now. I think it's left up to us. If we choose to wear the mask, we do. If we choose not to, that's our thing. But I do say, respect the people who don't want to take the mask off.
Yeah,
and still keep your distance and stuff. We're not fully out of this thing yet. You know what I mean? But please, respect the people.
Yeah, but I think we're lucky that way being Canadians, because we're a lot more friendly than what's been going on in the Karens, more so in the States, we'll call it. So I think Canadians we have a better, friendlier chance to get through this that way. So
100%.
We have a track that plays on our station. I don't know which band it is, but there's a lyric in it. It says, Canadians, we're not saying that we're better, but it's just that we're less worse.
That's a good point. I never thought of it that way, right?
Yes, for sure. Yeah. So after Buck Cherry, what else is coming up that's going to be in the next few months? You got something coming up. You said that's coming
Nothing
up.
You can talk about,
July and August, we got some outdoor festivals. We got some Rib Fest and stuff around southwestern Ontario. basically going towards Toronto. I'm trying to just nail out a couple things for August, but we're basically going to try to finish up a bunch of get our set the way we want. Get a bunch of stuff that we're going to rework and put in. There's some kind of what's going to be the next single after the Stars. That's what we're focusing on right now. We all kind of got really busy in June, like without playing, so we don't really but yeah, so basically June 29th kind of on is where the dates will start popping up. Sarnia, Rooster, basically Windsor to Toronto, right? So we're doing tomorrow night, actually, while we're talking right now, we're with Suicide Star at the Moose and Goose and Thorold. Great, awesome rock bar there. Junior, probably aware of it. It was called 54 or something, or Club something before. It's been around forever.
Yes.
So we're there tomorrow night with Suicide Star and Breaking Lines. And that's kind of another thing we're doing too, which is kind of a change. We're really tagging up with the different areas. So I mean, again, in Montreal, we're trying to work with other bands and sort of creating more collaborations and stuff too, right? Where we used to be like, April Wine's playing here, we're going to, we're pushing hard to work to open for them, or Great White's playing here, or et cetera, right?
Well, we'll do our part on our end.
Anybody like that's the type of stuff, and that's kind of where the future's got to lie too. Is everybody's got to kind of get out of the we had a great indie night here with 2 other bands here in London too. For our season opener, what we called our season opener, to get back and blow the dust off stuff too. And people were really appreciating it. People want to get out. People want to see stuff. People want to see live music, right? So that's what actually has been working well. But afterlounge.com, there's going to be all kinds of stuff that's going to be promoted on there and pushed on there. There's not a whole lot of stuff right now that I'm actually saying out loud and confirming, right? But the band's is naturally busy until basically the end of June, July, just with what we need to do and some family stuff and whatever. And then after that, I'm hoping that basically from July on, it's going to be a solid, I think it's going to be a solid year and being positive with what we're saying, right? So I think the indoor stuff, there's some great rock clubs that are popping up, which is good. Like I said, the Roosters in Sarnia, it's similar to the London Music Hall setup. So it's nice to see that. So that's kind of where we're at, right? And, but I really want to sit back and write and finish off a bunch of stuff that we have too during the course of July.
Yeah, the Ribfest festivals, it's nice that, because as you know, they're all over Ontario, that they're starting to run again. And that's what's kind of going on, as you know, Scott. So we're kind of getting there. Do you head Niagara Falls way at all? Because and you may have heard in the rumor mill, which I can't state right now, but there's some nice things in the rumor mill of some a nice venue are going to be reopening in Niagara Falls, if you haven't heard anything.
Pretty much Thorold's the only thing that we've played there. We played a couple outdoor festival stuff over the course of the last 10 years or so in Niagara, but there hasn't been any.
We got to get you guys hooked up on that stage right by the falls. You know what I'm talking about?
We played there before. Yeah, it's awesome.
But right beside that only club there.
We haven't played there in about 10 years or so, but yeah, we played there.
Great stage.
Yeah, it was awesome. And the fireworks and all that stuff too was the one night when we were there too. It was awesome.
Friday, or Wednesday,
yeah.
So let's give a shout out. You mentioned earlier there, just because this runs on an audio version as well, Scott, as Bling may have mentioned. I'm kind of an ex-drummer, and people seem to forget fucking drummers, and I want to put it that way. So let's start off with the drummer that you have in this band. His name,
Rob McEachran.
That name sounds familiar. He's been around a while.
Yeah, he was he was formerly in Svengali, in a few other bands.
There you go. There you go. On bass?
Paul Levelholes.
All right.
And actually, I think he does a lot of stuff with Doug Vardy too. So.
All right. And the rest of the band?
Jeff Kikut is on guitar, and he's kind of the longest member. He's been there and most of the stuff has been collaborated with him and myself for the songwriting and stuff. So yeah, he's been the longest guy slugging away with me.
Well, that's not a bad thing. So you mentioned earlier, if I'm not mistaken, that you do primary vocals. Is that right, Scott?
Yeah, I've sort of always played kind of a little bit of everything, not really
Lead singer.
very good, but mostly just frontman, focused on frontman, right? So, and that's kind of enough to keep me busy because I'm the mechanic in the van, I'm the booker, I'm the guy that takes this, I'm the one that's on the phone with the promoters.
Those all those hats I was talking about earlier, Scott.
I got all those hats, right? So as I always bug Jeff when Jeff's telling me, hey man, you gotta polish this note or polish that note. I'm like, well, I was trying to polish it this morning, but everybody's gonna get paid tomorrow. So that's the type of thing where we got 3 more shows, right? So it was hard to balance that. I'm getting better at it now too, though, but it's more of for me to pick up a guitar or play anything else, any other instruments, I wouldn't have enough time to do that. But I do have pretty much all the instruments and I love drumming and I love, I've always played bass and I've just picked the bass back up again during COVID time. So
it's ironic there in regards to the instruments that end up coming out of the talents that we kind of have. So back to the vocal side of things, your influence that you can come to mind that was your strongest influence to become and work on being a singer.
I was always honestly, I'm a huge NXS fan. A huge NXS.
Michael's got great pipes. Yeah, your voice is reminiscent of his more than 5440 of my ear. Go ahead. Sorry, Scott.
So I was my sister's like 15 years older than me. My brother's 8 years older than me. So that I grew up, in the 80s as a young kid.
Hearing that, right? Yeah.
In the early 90s and stuff like that. I was listening to a lot of Cult, NXS, Depeche Mode, all that type of stuff. So and again, I've always been a Sinatra fan too. So there's always been that, and Elvis. I mean, we're not directly in my office. My office is over here. This is more of my studio side of stuff, but my office is all Elvis and Sinatra.
I see old Frankie Blue Eyes in the background there.
Yeah.
You're talking to the right guy that way. I totally agree with you, my friend. Nobody else has been the king since. But I can appreciate where you're going with this. So keep going, Scott. That's great.
Yeah, but so I'm honestly, I listen to everything.
So the influence would be those examples you gave. Had you ever taken vocal I have at one time, matter of fact, a Montreal guy, Gino Bonelli, I took the same teacher in regards to professional vocal lessons. Have you taken them yourself?
Yeah, I have, and I think it's a strong thing to do, and I've always worked on coaching. And I need to go and do some more coaching again, because especially when you get back out and live and you try to be energetic, and I'm trying to get back out and be up front and stuff with a lot of shows that we're doing. Yes. Breathing is a big thing, right? That's a number one.
Number one.
It's honestly, and you really learn that. You can go in the studio, you can do something, and then when you start doing it live, and then you start adding in moving around on stage, and the bigger the stage, you start getting on some of those stage lines, the big ones outdoors and stuff like that. I mean, you're walking from
different work, yes,
and you're doing like the Vince Neil in the middle, right? And you're like, bent over, hunched over.
Or you have that delay, Scott, that you got to get familiar with in that same aspect, right? But I asked that question simply, and I do with a lot of the stars, including recently when we were interviewing Darby Mills. When would you think that Scott found his voice?
I think probably in the last 7 or 8 years is probably when I found sort of where I wanted to land. Right. We toured as a cover band with originals. So we would go we would go to up north to North Bay or Sudbury, and then we'd go and play at a club there and do full sets with a whole bunch of rock tunes, and half of the music was ours. And we were constantly playing 3 shows a week, 2 shows a week, and you had to do that because of where we are. We all know that we have to do that, right? Where there was no possible way of being an original act like what we are now. And again, we don't make anything like we used to. We don't tour as much as we used to that way either, right? So
you may know where I'm leading with that question then.
Well, I mean, so the covers, you're in bars, you're up late, you're in bars, you're drinking, you're having a party, and you're fun and all that stuff like that. You kind of lose control of your vocals. I know that I did for a long time. Lose control of where I was, lose control of where I was writing. And that's where I really needed to focus on my breathing and stuff like that. And then again, the bigger stages you play, the more the stuff you're doing, you need to focus and you need to land on.
There you go.
Right. You need to get back to the roots of what you were doing. Right. So, it's hard because I mean, I don't know what a lot of people think, but I can say, oh, I play all the time, so that's my practice. Well, not really. Yeah, if you sit back and right now there's a keyboard sitting here, and there's things like that I need to sit with, and I need to work on and even Jeff Kiku, our guitar player, he doesn't get it. Our drummer gets it when I'm like, I go on a treadmill before we have shows, and I'm working on my breathing, and I'm getting on my notes, and I'm working on whatever I'm doing. I'm singing the songs on my treadmill, because if I can sing my songs on my treadmill, and it might not necessarily, I could see where I'm, whatever, and at least I'm. It's like you're tiring yourself out, right? And then so that's kind of there's a lot of stuff like that. But focus, there's a lot of focus, and especially as you get older too, you need to focus, right?
So when I asked the question in regards to finding your voice, what could happen, as you say, in regards to being a cover band, is the trap of trying to, not trying, but getting it correctly, as opposed to right. I'm going to use the word correctly, but yet sounding very reminiscent, because you have to, of the artist of the song you're doing. So with that in mind, that's why I ask why it's a fine line in that trap. When Scott found his voice, was it a song? It must have been an original, was my guess.
Yeah, well, I think I always approached each of our covers before, because there was some that just did not sound like me, and I needed to cut them. I think I always approached covers, but I was able to give that, that if I wanted to be Billy Idol, I could nail that song in my own style. But give it just as much balls. So, but yeah, I'd say I've been maybe not so much found my voice, but I've been more comfortable with myself in the last 7 or 8 years, and knowing that what I needed to focus on, right, as an individual artist.
Because sometimes in the studio, it happens more so with an original that for most that I've interviewed, and it's been so many, regardless of that, it has been an original, because, as you know, it's a personal feeling in most cases. So all of a sudden, you actually have, I got to say this, you literally have a fucking euphoric moment at that you truly do hear your voice for what seems like the first time, Scott.
Yeah, I can see that 100%. And again, it all depends on what you were doing for the last, depends on how much, I think it's, for me, most of the originals, I would say a lot of them really have my style, right? I mean, I think it's always been there when it comes to that, because we were so busy all the time and we were doing stuff, and I wasn't trying to mimic covers.
There's a good word. Yes.
I never mimicked a cover, and that did piss people off, maybe because you don't sound like, you don't do a song. But,
that's a fair answer.
Hey, man.
Yeah, but hang on though, Scott. No, but I guess that is well, you know what? Now that you're saying that I guess that is truly the difference when they talk about, and I've gotten shit for it, of a tribute as opposed to, because the fam, they do expect that. They do, to a greater degree. And you and I, and even Bling, we know a great deal of them. How do you sound different, as an example, as an AC/DC singer? Come on.
Yeah, which I never did AC/DC, because I never even could do it in my style correctly, right? I mean, whenever we did
nice.
Whenever we did, I did Long Way to the Top for a little while, and Jeff was like, "Yeah, you can do that, man. It's just not your thing."
Let's scrap that.
I sang it like an octave lower, and I was sort of doing it in a completely different, and it just didn't sound right. And but I mean, it went over well all the time, and I was singing it and I was having fun with it, and people were enjoying it, but it wasn't. I shouldn't have been doing it, right? That's just that wasn't my thing, right?
Well, here's a question, Scott. While we're talking about vocals and stuff, and this is something I've always pondered and wondered, or whatever. You look at recent video clips or whatever of John Bon Jovi, and of course he's been getting a lot of flack because he screwed up a few of his own songs, and of course you know, a lot of it could be jet lag, touring. You know what I mean? You haven't been on tour for many years, and then you're doing the whole game, and you're not any younger. Also, what happens is you get a certain point where your voice starts changing, and then you know, to keep your
How
voice
about we just keep it
as
simple that he is older,
youthful as
Bling,
you
and
possibly
he's
can
fucking
throughout your
human.
career.
I mean, keep it simple. He is older and
Yeah,
he's
no,
human.
but what I'm
Scott,
what
you're
I'm
a
trying
singer.
what
You
I'm
can
trying to
have an
get
off night.
yeah what I'm no, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm trying to get at is there, as a lead singer or whatever, and I'm asking on a professional level, is there something that leads or whatever to try to keep that voice for as long as they possibly can throughout their career into, you know, wanting to rock until they're 100 type of thing, you know? um is there a certain training that goes into that?
I would
You
imagine.
get
I
my
mean,
point
I couldn't
where
even
I'm saying
imagine.
is
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Well, an example, you know, you're kind of right. But yeah, if you have it, you need to check it out. A lot of the professional singers, including Freddie Mercury, that comes to mind, wore scarves around their neck.
yeah.
This has to be protected. So a lot of them do through the years. A lot of them, the pros, they protect their throat area. So there is kind of Bling.
Yeah. Okay. John, you've been sitting with us for a while, right? And you have anything to say? You have a question or something, John? You kind of like let him sit in the corner there. He's been watching away.
Well, I've been on the phone.
I thought he was one of Scott's roadies.
No, I've been on the phone. So.
Yeah. Go ahead, John.
It's been a rough few weeks, so I'm trying to get back in the swing of things, you know?
Yeah, that's it.
But, you
Okay.
know, it's nice to see that. That's what I like to say. It's nice to see that we're able to get talent.
So do you have a
and
question for
local
Scott?
talent,
Or?
indie talent on our show, and that's what it's all about. Because as Bling and Junior's probably heard 100 times by now, my take on things is I'd rather support a band that's an indie band than support somebody that's been out there for 30, 40, 50 years and raking in the bucks. Or like Junior always puts it, the retirement fund, you know? As we just heard, I don't know, as you could say, word is out there, it's happening. And I was saying to my wife the other day, I said, you know what? The Scorpions have been on a retirement tour since 2010. It's time to get off the tour and do the retirement. They're doing it again, the retirement tour, the farewell tour. But I can honestly say the opening band is Whitesnake, as everybody knows. It is the farewell tour for Whitesnake, because as of December this year, David Coverdale won't even be able to do his own music, as he sold his library. So, you know, they won't be able to tour.
A lot of people doing that too. Any plans on selling your library as you get older, Scott?
No.
Millions of dollars and sit back?
No.
Hey?
I don't know if it'd ever be millions of dollars, but
No?
yeah, it's kind of, we'll see about that. But I mean, you see all these people like Bob Dylan and all these people that are like selling off their stuff, right? And you're like, wow.
Like Bruce Springsteen sold everything.
And again, here's the opportunity. Like that is a perfect example of what I was talking about with where things are at. Because it's like, well, there's streaming platforms in the publishing and all this stuff. You know, that didn't exist that way. It did, but it didn't. Like when the Doors put out like Light My Fire, remember when Jim got pissed off about that? Like, what was that like back then? That was like something small time at the time and stuff like that. But now it would be like they would do that and it would be so bigger and so much more. Like, who knows what it would be? We can't even exist, like, even because everything's so different now. And that's when you see, like, you know, I don't even know what Bob Dylan did. What was it, like 300 million or something like that? Like, I mean, because of, if you think about it and where things are going to go long term and how the streaming platforms are going to be, and you're talking worldwide. Like I said, we're getting play on these weird ass platforms all over Asia, all over Brazil, all over, like, on these platforms that no one's ever heard of, like NetEase Cloud.
Right.
I put that out on our Facebook and stuff like that, and tag stuff when our new releases and stuff come out. People have no idea what I'm talking about. They think I'm nuts, right? Well, technically, we're getting a ton of play, and there's people listening to us that are on their iPhones over there, or whatever phones they have. That other one, that One, whatever it is, like,
Right.
you can see, like, wow. And there's people, like, someone sat Bob Dylan down and said, "Listen, man, you're pretty much ready to retire. You're done. You die tomorrow. People are just going to start taking your stuff. Maybe, I don't know. Like,
Right.
You could do it right now, and we'll offer you this, and this is where things are going to go, and we'll make sure that your stuff's managed and looked in your catalog is taken care of." Probably. I don't know what that conversation was like, but just think of that, right? Where things are going. And for TV and movies, and now that everything's out, with Netflix and all these different programs, all these different streaming things too, that are making movies, and it seems like there's hundreds and hundreds of like TV shows coming out, TV series on Netflix or on all these different things. They're all using music. They're all using these covers, and they're all stuff like that, using sync and stuff too. So, I mean, it's a great future for right now going on. And some of those guys that had that bank are making bank, right?
Yeah, I have a local friend here, Marlon Gibbons is his name, who's friends with the guys down your way, Noel Lesperance and whatnot from the Midland Penetang area. Anyway, he's making more than a living off of reality shows with regards to his music.
Yeah.
And I think he even got recently, which is a big thing. I think he got even a recent Disney example as well. So you are correct. The platforms are changing very much so, Scott, and so that's great.
It is. And especially if you're Bob Dylan or Neil Young.
Well, I saw the change many years back or whatever. Yeah, definitely. As soon as when they first came out with the 360 spin, that's when I started seeing things really, really changing. And when Napster came in and all that stuff, and you get, Metallica up there crying about every little dime they're losing, and
but you know what?
Really changed, man. In fact, me and John have spoken about this many times. We have a huge Junior. We have a huge listening audience in the United States. We know we have a huge listening audience in the United States, but on our statistics and our numbers, it didn't show because of some freaking law they got in the States online or whatever. Right. It's crazy, and you were talking about worldwide. This show tonight is being broadcast. I mean, we got listeners in Indonesia,
Philippines,
Switzerland, Ireland, the UK, Greece, Germany, France, Brazil, Central South America, all the way down the pipe. And we've got listeners, Australia, New Zealand, so on. And it's incredible to have, the Ontario guys look like they popped out, Johnny.
And we have listeners in Canada.
Server. That's what happens. Bling bus server, film at 11 in Canada. Oh, yeah, audiences in Canada, of course. All the way from the east and the west coast, all over the place. And it's just incredible. You're right. The change of things. And they didn't have this back then. So, imagine guys like Hendrix and all that would go back then. And there we go. Hello from the Philippines. See, we have got a really large listening audience. Believe it or not, we got over 94 listeners just from the Philippines alone that come in, and a lot of support. In fact, tomorrow night, we have got John, who's going to be taking all the way from the Netherlands.
Nice.
Their album tomorrow, John?
Yeah, 14 by Morgan Dust drops tomorrow.
Just nod and wave, baby. Nod and wave. It is radio, nod and wave.
So let's go back to Scott here a little bit. Our guest.
Sunday when people listen to the show, they're going to go.
we'll go back to our guest here. So, at what age,
Okay, yeah.
Scott, were
Oh,
you
of
when
course.
it came to music? For me, it was hockey. Was it a sport first, or were you at what age that you decided to pick up an instrument rather, and or had the interest more so in music than other things, perhaps?
Technically, I was born and raised in a farm in the middle of nowhere, Norfolk County. Born and raised, I always say, and it's a lyric that's in one of our songs called "Sunshine." And
All right.
there wasn't a whole lot to do, but I was into music. My parents were into music. My brother was a drummer. There was music all around. My parents were the type of people that they had the latest new song that
Stereo?
was out. They
Oh,
had the
sorry.
newest stereo. They had everything was like that. And my dad's still, you can't have you're in the back seat. Him and my mom are in the front. If you drive somewhere, right? Even at my age, I'm in the back seat. It's a big joke, right? He's got Kings
Sure.
of Leon on, cranked, and he's trying to have a conversation with you, right? And I'm so it's kind of funny, but I was always around music and stuff like that, and I was always entertaining, and it wasn't until I was in my teens and I started getting in and I never really knew. I never really paid attention much to my voice until I was probably in my late teens, probably, is that when it first kind of started. And again, I started off with a lot of jazz stuff. I started off with a lot of Elvis stuff. I covered a lot of stuff,
Is
right?
that
So
right? Okay.
yeah.
A lot of us, because I tried that route as well, as I was saying earlier in the rock thing, but it was it was more for girls.
Right.
So, so when you say the teens,
For the
so
chick,
it was then
eh?
deciding to. So, what age was it that you decided? So, it was the jazz band first. Is your first band? Is that what you're saying,
Yeah,
Scott?
I was really doing a lot of jazz stuff. And
Interesting.
yeah, I
Interesting.
loved a lot of jazz stuff. I loved
So, at what age is this now?
my early 20s. Yeah. I mean, I was like, and I was and then started where I started writing a lot of rock stuff. That's where that
Bling
came
is a
about,
band.
right? So,
Well, at that's why I'm asking that age, Scott, for maybe the obvious reason, because most when you do say the jazz category, it's the friends perhaps making fun of you or whatever the case may be. So you perhaps had to deal with things like that at that age. Even a girlfriend, what the fuck is that?
yeah.
Type of thing. So, so it was a jazz band. What was the name of the first band that you were in, Scott?
The Bar Top Shakers.
All
I
right.
think is what we technically. I don't even know if we ever really confirmed it that's what it was, but yeah, it was.
Is that right? Okay.
Yeah, it was like we played at UWO. We played a couple of, we had. That was kind of my first jump at things, right? And then we kind of the same sort of band, sort of. That's the drummer of that band said, After the Lounge be a good name of the band, and that's when we started writing. And we started getting into doing rock covers to get shows.
Okay, so that was the change. So is that what's happened? Then all of a sudden this is cool, but it's not cool enough. Is that kind of where we're going?
Yeah. All right. We played at Brusha College because the drummer's girlfriend was in Brusha College, which is the female college here. And we played it, and I was like, "There's none of these girls are looking at me. Something's not right here." And there's no booze. What the hell's going on? So then when someone's like, "Hey man, you should probably look at doing covers to get into bars, right? Like rock covers."
All right.
I did that, and there was girls and there was beer, so that worked out well, right?
Yeah, there wasn't too many jazz bars for sure in that aspect, so it changed over. So you jumped a little bit ahead in regards to that. So you got, of course, some guys, including the gentleman you spoke of earlier. So the first was that the first band, and this is the band that you've continued from that time.
Yeah, it's been basically since then. It's been going. And
are you kidding me? Wow.
It's been. Yeah, so I mean, there's been about, a few different drummers through the years. But I mean, the guitar player at that time when that was changed after the Lounge name, he was one, he was there for, quite a few years with me too and stuff. And again, it was just a lot of it was ego issues and girlfriends and stupid stuff, why different people were left, and there's always there's the road warriors and there's guys that just aren't made for that, right? And because we went from playing 2005, 6, 7, 8 or whatever like that. We were playing 200 shows, 150 shows a year, right?
All right.
Three or four shows a week. In the summertime, we'd play Brantford Friday, Chatham Saturday, and then play in Port Stanley on the beach on Sunday, right? And that's the way it was. We were all over Ontario, by 2010, 2011, we were all over Ontario touring constantly, right? So, yeah.
So some perhaps could have come into, we don't need the personal shit or whatever, but it sounds like into almost some anyway, obviously some of the former members into a burnout syndrome or choice of, or was it, they call it the famous line, Scott, musical indifferences.
Yeah. No, there wasn't never really much of that. There was technically, if you really want to know, I guess.
Well, this is an interview, Scott. This is an interview.
It is kind of a funny story. I was fired from my own band, so I think
I was too. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah. I was fired from the Bar Top Shakers, whatever we were playing, and then we changed over to be an original rock sort of band or rock cover band. We were starting to write some originals, and I was fired. But no one ever really said anything. I just kind of figured out, well, I'm not playing. These guys are playing. They're doing stuff. We were sort of still doing what we were doing. But there was I would leave, and there would be another couple guys come up to the jam hall that we had. And I was like, oh, okay, I see how this is going, right? So then turned around, and then the guitar player at that time was fired too. And then he comes over to my house, and he says, I was fired too, and this guy that they brought in to play and did sing and stuff was an ass and stuff. And then that's when After the Lounge name, technically I carried that name on, and because it was mine technically, and and that's what it became. So it was and those, I bump into all those guys now from way back, and there's no problem.
Regardless,
it was funny. It was funny because I was fired from, and then I formed After the Lounge, what it is now. So I mean, it's been a good, those people have 5 kids. And,
so let's play on the words then, Scott. And why shouldn't we, with pun intended? So this is what had happened back then, After the Lounge.
That's right. Yeah, it was before the lounge and after the lounge. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. And it does happen. That's what it is in regards to change-ups in bands and whatnot. So, but yeah. So plans right now. You said about, of course, shows coming up. So you are working on a new EP of sorts. A lot of the guys, like my guys in Fear and such and whatnot, your way. Even like I say, the guys in Rocket Queen. I can't remember their other. They got signed with RFL, Snake something or other. So EPs have become more popular. Is this what you're working on now, the shorter CD version?
Yeah, we're just going to continue on. We're going to continue writing the way we are. It's just it feels good to be out. It feels good to be out playing, and we have stuff that we were working on, and a lot of B-side stuff too that we know that it's just stuff for us to record and put out for people to listen to and enjoy. Right. And a lot of that came about because of people like yourself and stations like yourself and jockeys that have jumped on it, and also streaming platforms that people have been looking up our back catalog. So that was okay, people wanted more, right? So they want more. So if we put a 6-song EP out and we put it to streaming platforms, it will get played. Right. If it's a live or whatever, that's actually technically something I never thought of. There's been so much going on, honestly, guys, it's hard to even keep track. But we did a live at Phase One album
studio.
Yeah, we went live. We went in there, went in a big room and just drank and partied and played. And I mostly me drinking, but and just had a really good time hanging out and playing. And this was Darius's idea. He's like, yes, we got to just come up here and just hit record and have some fun. And so it will come out. It's going to be more of a docu. I'm going to call it a docu performance, because it's going to be a bit of a documentary. It's going to have a bit of stuff in it about the times, why the stars came about, for instance, like we've talked about, the changing in us as personalities too. I mean, we're going to have some interviews in there. It's going to have raw footage from in phase one, and raw footage within the time too of, getting stuck in traffic in Toronto, and reminding us about how much we hated, touring. Because I mean, you're stuck, you're gridlocked in Toronto, right? And you're like,
not on the 401, no.
And so it's a docu performance, and so that's going to come out ATL Live at Phase 1 in Toronto. There will be some performances of that stuff come out, and some footage of that coming out. And yeah, give me 1 second here. I'm just getting a bunch of text messages.
No worries.
My phone's been off, but yeah. So there's a lot of stuff. That's we have that.
Hey, listen, Scott.
Go ahead.
Scott, I have a question for you. Do you know a Jules Duquette?
No, I do. He's my way.
Do you know a gentleman by the name of Jules?
No.
Yeah, well,
no, I
don't
do.
know what
I
his
do.
problem
He's a friend
he seems to
of
be
my
angry.
way.
Why is he angry?
Okay. Well,
angry
he tapped on the angry button. I don't know if he's got fat fingers and accidentally did it, but if you're angry about something, dude, say what you got to say.
No, he's
Bling. You know what? We'll make it better.
Bling.
I want to make sure everybody's happy. So it's something that pissed him off or something. I don't know. Yeah.
Bling. Let me talk.
I know. It's a friend of yours over there. Yes.
Yeah. No,
yeah.
He would.
Oh, you've been talking. Don't worry.
Thing.
Go ahead.
Yeah. No. I just want to make sure that that he's a close friend and a musician as well. So. Actually, his cousin is the famous, Scott would know, 1050 chum, John Donovan.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So, no, Jules hit the wrong thing. Trust me. The point being is Jules supports the music.
No problem. It's just customer service. It's customer service. We want to make sure everybody's happy, we do get people that sometimes, they're very, that's one thing about you'll find when you run an online station is that people could be very finicky about things. And the one thing it drives me crazy is if somebody does something, so we know this was a mistake or whatever, it's cool. But when somebody does that and then they go away, but they don't tell you what they're upset about or whatever, how can we make things better? It's, don't go away mad, as they say.
That the only thing is sort of like that's the only problem actually, Scott. Now that we bring this up, that's gone on with the media pages out there. There are many times that people are misinterpreted in certain ways. So not just because of this happening, but it's very true. You can write. I remember doing a thing with Pat Travers. You could do a perfect posting up there, and yet somebody somewhere has misinterpreted. So it does happen.
Yeah.
We'll go. Yeah. He could be doing some song and have a song out called "Retired" or something. It's going, is Pat Travers retired? Right? And they'll read it all wrong. Yes, people don't take the time to read stuff. That is internet. Right. No matter what platform you're on, that is just people. They're in such a rush. My grandfather always said it best. Like people when they're rushing home and the highway or the 401, as we say, right? He always said to me this. He said, these people are all in a big rush to get home and eat a bologna sandwich. In other words, what makes their life so much more important, right? And that they have to speed through everything when they're just going home to eat a simple bologna sandwich. You know what I mean? So what's the importance? But please read, people. And while we're talking about reading, please let's support our local literacy programs for those who can't read, and make sure that everybody can read all the posts that we put. There we go. So anyways, listen, we don't want to take much more of your time up or whatever, because hey, this has been amazing. You know, we've been on here for almost 2 hours, bro. I guess you're having yourself a good time, aren't you? You got to stop by more often, man. Next time, bring the band. We want to hear some live acoustic stuff or whatever from this platform, if you possibly can next time. Yeah. I know it was kind of a last minute thing or whatever. I just found out today. I should have been on top of things a little bit quicker. And, you know, it's cool. Say hi to the band. Give them a big hug from us over here at the station. And again, we love your music, man. We'll just keep playing. Keep sending us anything you get, man. The fans are loving it. And the numbers are great. And John, you're the one behind the helm. Come on, give us a little
I'll make sure we get you
insight as to how well.
Shop, eh? You guys.
Oh, we always love it. Junior loves swag. Do you not notice Junior's background? Junior's the swag king.
Yeah.
When it
comes.
I asked you for your address the other day, by the way, eh? And you still haven't sent it.
Why?
I was going to send
Why?
you
You're not sending me a T-shirt, are you?
That you've been asking about for God knows. Yes,
no,
I
Scott.
am.
I'm okay, but I joke. In regards to the radio industry, when I work commercial radio, it's been an ongoing joke with a lot of us radio jocks. That we've never received large paychecks, but we've received a ton of motherfucking rock T-shirts. So we've gotten paid in rock T-shirts more than anything else. So, but the point being is, and I have people that mail me with a lot of the guys you're talking, including Doug Vardy. I have his CD and that he has sent me. Well, the point being is, back to what you were talking about before I get into this other, what has changed, Scott, and I agree with you. The competitive side of things, how it kind of used to be, was there, and it was maybe a good thing at one time. But I'm finding even kind of slightly pre-COVID, when I got back, as the example, at the Rock Pile, bands and those associated with this industry seem to be helping each other with a leg up in so many different avenues. I think it's fucking fabulous, as opposed to the fuck you attitude that used to kind of sort of be there.
Yeah. I think I was never really part of that. Kind of give you an example of already the one sort of we did get that, well, a little bit, but for the most part, people were in the back in the days, it was all about a competition. Yeah. And that's why there was Battle of the Bands, right? And people would go and play a Battle of Bands and they would not speak to anybody else there. But I mean,
I never liked the Battle of the Bands.
Yeah. Never. Yeah. So, for us, I mean, I like to see everybody. I think everybody should support a good friend here in the city too. He plays in lots of bands and stuff. He's always like, wait, let's boost everybody up. It actually does better for yourself, right? Too. To be positive.
Well, that's what's happened. I mean, this is why, like, people, the odd person that doesn't get it, this is why I drop all the names I do. It's in support of. These guys get it. I have all these fucking shirts because it's wearing a badge of the bands in support of. I was doing a bit of a radio show, but I'm known as Canadian radio personality Junior LeClaire because I've been promoting Canadian music. Those that don't fucking get it, in the last 35 years, I don't care if it's Nickelback, Scott, if it's Justin Bieber, we can go on, including, of course, like at 34 times in concert Rush, but Canadian music and bands have kicked ass all over the world. That is the bottom line.
Yeah, 100%. And keeping positive.
Imagine when you think Harley Davidson, for example, when you think Harley Davidson, for example, what's the one song that comes to mind? Born to Be Wild, right? And everybody thinks, oh, it's the American Harley Davidson sort of thing. But this song was released by Steppenwolf, and they are Canadian.
Oh, the list is crazy.
You know, we have a lot of great things about Canada. Yeah.
I will say
Do you know we're responsible for all the white lines you see on the highway? It was invented in Canada.
I will say,
no joke. Basketball invented in Canada. Hockey.
Some of the actual most famous people are actually the most biggest artists I've ever met, or had conversations with, are most of the time the most humble. Like having a conversation with Randy Bachman was probably, for me, I was pretty starstruck. I don't get starstruck too much, but that was pretty, like, for me. And I met him, First time I met him was like in maybe 04 or 05. And
Right.
he was just having straight up conversation, standing out back of the stage he was about to play on, and just straight up conversation, just talking about a couple tunes or whatever, something I was doing too. And I was like, I walked away from that going, why is everybody, why do people have to be such assholes? And when there's a guy like that who's like taking care of business, right? And he's so humble. And over the years, guys from Sheriff, Denny DeMarkey became a good friend of mine, who passed away, obviously, as we know, rest in peace, my brother. Guys like him, you go have lunch with them and stuff like that, and they talk to you about, what they can do to help you and stuff, right? And the most humble people. And and we're Canadian too, right? So I think that has something to do with it. I think
It probably does.
Yeah, I think so.
Even in my take of my time in travels of radio at Q and whatnot, I've only had a few examples of but I've always looked at for the time I have, I kind of understand first and foremost this in regards to people have no idea, Scott, in regards to touring, what they might be dealing with that day and so on. So I've never given an impression of let's call them, if we're going to use the word rock star, that day if they acted out of turn or whatever the case may be, because the bottom line for me, in my point, and all you look at from Bob Seger to David Lee Roth, blah blah blah, that they're fucking, and we are human. They can have a bad day.
That's right. Yeah.
So if I do a show with them a second time and so we'll go there for a sec here, and I've acted like an asshole, well, maybe he's an asshole. So if you go a third time and they're still acting like this, here's what I'm getting at. In the industry, there are egotistical people, and there are those, you have to have an ego or you will not exist, meaning your belief in your craft. So they're out there, but in general, most are kind of not bad. But Bob Seger, as an example, as grounded as you and I talking right now.
Yeah, it's amazing, eh?
Yes. Sebastian Bach, because I knew Peter
Scott, do you know?
Sorry, do you want me to finish that?
Scott, are you familiar with the term of the polite fuck off in the rock business?
Yeah. And I honestly, I can say honestly that there is times even when I'm at shows that I can't.
Yeah.
I need to get into mode in my head and stuff.
Yeah.
For instance, our first show back, I wasn't in the actual room.
Yeah.
A lot of people want to see you, right? I couldn't be in the room prior to it. Everybody wants you to yell over the band that's playing and talk to them, right? Everybody's like, "Hey, how you been? What have you been up to? Haven't seen you in so long," right? So then you're like, "Hey, well, I've been busy as hell and stuff like that," but you're yelling it in their ear, right? So I could see where some people think that, sometimes where you're just having that day where you don't want to, and it does feel weird. Even the guy from the news that was there to do a story on us, I didn't. Usually I see him, I have a different relationship with him. That day I felt like I kind of, wasn't as much as I should have been because I was just in my mode. So I think everybody has different days and whatever, but I can only imagine the bigger the artist, though. Like what Bling's saying there. I mean, there is the F off, sort of like the nonchalant F off, right? Like, or
no, it's you got it. But basically, what I'm saying is, in the music industry, we are a community, right? And it's a small community. And you don't know, like, even if you're having a bad day, you don't know you're going to piss off a person that might end up doing something. I mean, I myself, or whatever, I got schooled very quickly by Sharon Osbourne herself. Was my first ever experience with the polite fuck off, which was simply when I was trying to book an interview with either Ozzy or Zach Wilde about, like Ozfest and all this stuff. Literally, that was it. But in other words, it wasn't kind of like she was telling me what's in it for me straight up or whatever, but it was more of like, you never know who you're talking to. So just, make it the polite fuck off type of thing,
Yeah.
And this is the way we all roll in the business or whatever. And I've met a lot of indie musicians too, who don't get that. You know what I mean? you critique them about one little thing or whatever, like some of the younger bands who aren't, been around for a long time, and they can't take criticism whatsoever. They just like totally freak, you know what I mean? And the word polite fuck off does not exist in their vocabulary, you know what I mean? It's straight fuck you. So that's what I meant by that sort of thing, and you find that in the business for many, many years. I'm sure you've probably had that a few times in your times, and probably had to use it a couple of times in your times also, right?
I try not to be an asshole, Bling.
No, that's it. A polite asshole. No, that's it. So that's it. And I also heard another one. I mean, throughout the years or whatever, the other one that they use or whatever, if you're not getting sued, you're not in the music industry. That's another one I've heard from within the circles. It's pretty funny.
I think we've all tried to not get sued. That's probably a good
yeah, that's it. God knows how many times people wanted to sue me just for saying potato or something. You never know. So definitely listen. We've loved having you. We love having you and doing you on the show, type of thing. We want you to come back so we can do you some more, type of thing. There you go. No, it's been a really great time with you here tonight. We don't want to keep you much longer or whatever, unless you want to stick around. I mean, we still got what do we got here, Junior?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I was supposed to be watching the Leafs at 7:30. With some of my buddies.
Oh, did you already see one of your friends popped on and said, "Go Leafs"? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's not my buddy, but he's pretty cool, I guess.
Yeah, everybody's.
I was supposed to be watching the Leafs at 7:30, and I mean,
listen,
it's cool.
I'm not into hockey much, but even then, I can't say much because our Habs have been out a couple of weeks now.
Yeah,
John,
what happened to the Habs, we don't follow the Canadians.
Canadians are finished.
No.
So
it's okay. I already told you, Junior.
And for all you Leafs
I know that your
fans
stadium was built on top of an Indian burial ground, so I forgive you for whatever happens with the Leafs.
So respectfully, let's do this. Scott, I appreciate that you took the time, and yes, we're into some overtime. So let's end the interview with the fact of how the name, of course, of your band, and how they can get a hold of you guys with regards to a web page and or media page to follow your shows and the followings of your band.
We can find us,
of course, the local Montreal. Sorry, and of course the Montreal local listeners, any clubs who are tuned into the show and want to book After the Lounge here in Montreal, because we definitely love to see you here in Montreal.
Good answer, Scott.
For that also.
Sorry. After the Lounge, obviously, and afterthelounge.com. Thanks, Bling, for that shout out there. And yes, we do want to come to Montreal. And yeah, so about After the Lounge and afterthelounge.com and Facebook, all the social medias, every platform possible, every streaming possible. We're doing really well on Rezo, all in Gami, all these different ones. I mean, they're all over the world. I don't even know who's using them. We're trying to figure that out, actually, to be honest with you, because might be
who's taking care of all this for you.
It's a lot of stuff. I've got people helping me out here and there and stuff like that. But I mean, for the most part, it runs itself. I mean, it really does, because you're putting stuff out and you're streaming it. But After Lounge all over the internet, and we're looking forward to. And most of all, I want to thank you guys, and thanks very much for setting this up for today. And I didn't know we were going to be live on video and stuff. I knew kind of like you guys do a little bit of video, because I did watch Bling before on video. Stuff personally was sending me privately, and what
kind of videos is he sending?
Surprise!
I appreciate what you guys are doing, because it's important. It really is important what you guys are doing for the music industry, and I would love to come on again. And anytime you guys want to talk about anything when it comes to stuff, we're gonna have this live stuff come out. This docu performance is gonna come out. I'll make sure you guys have up there at Indie Rock. I'll make sure you guys have the copies of it before it comes out. We can talk about that. We can talk about some of the footage and stuff that's coming out too. There's lots of great stuff, but it's really cool. I didn't know who all was getting involved with today when we are doing this, but it's been absolutely awesome. And I can talk with you guys for hours. Someday, hopefully, we get to do it over beers in person, right? Because that'd be fantastic.
Yeah, definitely the Canadian way.
Yeah. But what you guys are doing,
listen, I wanted to let you know we do.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Cut you off.
And say if you haven't noticed, also we have this thing called Rock Stage, which is our live performance platform on our website. And we're, if ever you want to do a concert and do a live event, sell some tickets or whatever, it will broadcast live from our site. And of course, broadcast live from madeincanadamall.ca, which is where we are. We have a space in a virtual shopping center, which is we're basically the entertainment section mall and everything. So we've always wanted to reach across Canada with a cool live show and get some great live performances for that mall or whatever. And if you're ever up for it, man, we'll talk shop.
It sounds awesome. That'd be great.
A lot of people don't know about this thing.
Yeah, that's awesome. That'd be like, especially anything to get to Montreal too. So, but like I said, like I was saying there before, we kind of in between the stream stuff here. But like I was saying, I appreciate what you guys are doing, and the fact that you guys did this today with me. I know when the bands and stuff like that, when they get a chance to listen and watch what we just did, and I talk with them about it. This is inspiring for us, right? The shows, there hasn't been the shows, there hasn't been the streaming and the help and the stuff like that. I mean, it's all been like, you can do a stream and you can do a live stream to it, whatever. People don't, that's for the last 2 years has been so messed up. So what you guys are doing right here is very inspirational, and telling the artists and stuff like that you appreciate their music and stuff like that, and putting the platforms out there. And everybody that's been commenting there, Bob and Warren, of course, I heard about his show. I'm looking forward to checking that out too. Yeah. And Gigi there. I mean, we got a whole bunch of people messaging and stuff like that. So everybody that's been paying attention and listening to, thank you very much for sure. This is what we do it for, right? We create great music and try to create great music, but the only reason why it's great is because you tell us it's great. We're just doing what we love, right?
Yeah, definitely.
All
and
right.
this is what we do.
Our job is to make London Way.
Share the love.
For sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, much appreciated, guys.
I knew this was going to go off tonight. I knew Junior was in his element. I was like, let him go, because this Junior is like Ontario guy and Ontario guy together. It just goes totally Ontario on you, and there's no stopping it. It's like the 40. Well, unless you're in Toronto on the 401, right?
Exactly.
Did I make that right? Did I? Yeah. That was a little Toronto pun. It was. I thought it was. Come on, Junior, laugh.
John, could you check what is in Bling's coffee, please?
Yep.
All right. You see, this is the difference between Montrealers and Toronto people. See,
yes.
Right. Like we make them jokes.
Excellent.
But it's okay. Habs are coming back.
Yep.
Damn it, they are. Yep. Anyways, Scott, on a serious note, once again, we thank you very much for joining us here on Indie Scene tonight. On behalf of me and Junior and John and everybody at the station here, we are one big family, and we love you. And you keep doing what you do, man.
Thanks very much, guys. Much appreciated.
We'll keep pushing you and
we'll be in chats. As much as we can. We'll be in chats for
definitely.
Sure.
All right. Be well, Scott. Nice being here,
guys.
For sure. All right, folks. We're going to continue on with some more great music for you here. That was a pretty cool interview there.
Yeah.
Junior.
It's always nice when you, a guest that likes to share and whatnot and has great conversation. It's great to be able to have that, which was, what we got out of Miles Goodwin as well. And all of them, by the way. Right. So, yet another great interview with a band that's and again, it's funny about networking and always knowing somebody through somebody, and especially when it comes to music,
Yeah, it was cool. I saw that. Like you guys started mentioning names, London, this and that. I was really interested when he was talking. I wish he had spoke more about that awards show that they have in the Hall of Fame and stuff in London,
Yeah.
Ontario. That is so cool. We got to find
Yeah,
out more
I'm
about that
very
London
versed on
Hall.
that because of the yeah, I'm very versed on it
Yeah.
because of all the friends and associates that we talked about. And he is correct that London has been
Mhm.
like you said, 20 years of it and whatnot. So they've been a primary. And it's not like I said to him, and I'll say to any of the associates, because we're talking to him and he's from that area.
Yeah.
It's just very true. So it is
Mhm.
and beyond London, going west, say towards Windsor, to keep it short here. We're not picking on these
Yeah.
town cities. We're not.
Yeah.
But it's not as primary. London seems to have
Yeah.
they're a very good, solid, strong kind of family with regards to the music. That's why it's easy for me to bring up these names. And then when you come back east, yeah, of course, Toronto for the obvious for the bands, and then kind of it
Yeah.
slows its way down when you get kind of to Cornwall. And then, of course, once they get across to the border of the province that you guys are in, you guys have and always have a strong force of every sort of music. When we go beyond
Yeah.
there, it's now a stronger country Celtic kind of style in regards to
Yeah.
not that good rock bands don't come out of there, but you see what I'm getting at. So he's right. London
Yeah.
and has been very strong over about 35, perhaps even 40 years playing besides the awards he's talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. I mean, look, there's always been some amazing bands that have come out of your city, our city. What's really great is when we're talking about places like London and all these places, if you're not from Canada and you're driving through Ontario, you'll think you're in the middle of bumfuck nowhere. And
Yeah.
why? Because you're driving on highways with tons of pine trees and this and that, and you're going, where the hell's the town there? Whatever. Where's this? And then you'll drive down off of a road, typical here in Canada, and that road will lead you to this boom, London, Ontario, or it will lead you boom to Kingston, Ontario, and it ends up being this like cool little city in the middle of bumfuck nowhere, right?
It's actually a very, very
and that's what's cool about Ontario.
Yeah, it's a very pretty clean city
Quebec is the
as
same
well.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, again, Canada, like in general, there's very kind of shitty or whatever. We've done our well. Hi, Sandra McRae. She's been back listening to us again. Like she's a long fan listening.
Hey, Sandra.
So why don't we do that so I can have a smoke break and get a quick drink? Let's play another song from the band, or if you have something else on the platform there, I'm not sure, Bling.
John,
go with Easy Love.
Oh well, John, you if you don't mind, I'm gonna run and have a smoke too, and if you could just pop a couple of videos on, because I know you're in control of the helm too, aren't you?
Oh, okay. Put two videos.
Because John, unless you want to have a smoke, John, I could stay behind and
I didn't think John even smoked those cigarettes. Does he?
Oh, he does. Not as often as I do, but
no, I didn't think he was a cigarette smoker.
John's got a rock and roll edge to him, man. Don't take him the wrong way.
No, but in fairness, there's a lot of people that have quit over the last few years, Bling. So, but yeah, okay, let's hit a song and then we'll come back and talk some more rock and roll.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you got for us, John?
Out.
We're gonna go with a song by After the Lounge called "Easy Love."
Here on IndieRockRadio.ca, and you're tuned to Indie Scene with Bling and Junior and John.
Oh, my full.
you right. Treat you right. This place is set up for one thing, my friend. Just make a boy like you smile. Should make you smile. Because it's easy to love and I'm on my knees. This was a bad idea, I better leave. Oh, I've been coming here for years, my friends. Oh, yes, because of this place. Ooh, I'm on fire. Yeah, I'm on fire. Ooh, and if you're looking for love, you can be yourself. Yes, and that's all right. Yeah, that's all right. Because it's easy to love and I'm on my knees. This was a bad idea, I better leave. I'm trying to tell you, I gotta tell you how good it can be. They'll always tell you, I gotta tell you, there's always somewhere we might try to be. You know, because it's easy to love and we're on our knees. This was a bad idea, we better leave. I gotta tell you, we're gonna tell you, they're gonna tell you how good it can be. There's always some place, there's always someone, there's always some place we might try to be. They're gonna tell you, they're gonna tell you, they're gonna tell you how good it can be. There's always some place, there's always someone, there's always somewhere we might try to be. She screams from the top of lungs. She another notch in my band. Deja vu, I've been at this place before. Oh, last time I was here, said I'm not gonna do this again. But I know I'm a juvenile that's looking for fun. Young boy, you're never gonna learn. And I always say won't do it. Never, no, never. never again, never again. She's so quick to tell me what a catch is. She's pushed me closer to the door. So blind to her actions, she's never the problem. She's got no clue, my friends. This girl knows the game. She has a game. And I always say I won't do it. Never, no, never, no, never again. Never again, never again. Come get it! Ulterior motives, she got figured out. And I'm all wrapped up in the plot. Oh, trying to go so full of greed. I know I can't be the only one. There's probably plenty out the door. This girl ain't right. The girl ain't right. And I always say I'll do it. Never, no, never, never again, never again, never again. Never again, never again, never again. Young boy.
So there you have
Yeah.
it. Two great songs by After the Land. We had Easy Love, and we ended off with a song that they did in 2015
I
called.
think we're
I'll
back.
talk in a minute.
Are we back?
Just remember
Yeah, I'm back here. I'm
Morning,
just
Dad.
talking to my neighbor because of boats going into the
Let's add
water.
people
And
to the stream.
I'll
I
say
can't
this:
see
Lou,
or hear nothing. There
Lou,
we
you can't
go.
hear these guys, but they can hear me. So my neighbor has discovered what the word boat means. Guys, do you guys know what the word boat stands for? Yes or no?
Nope. No.
It stands for break out another 1,000. So she's discovering this in her
There
new
we
venture
go.
of a boat. So yeah, we're back on there. I'll talk to you a bit about your boat, Lou. Sorry, guys. Yeah, no, that's what's going on. And plus, I'm in the boat business. So yeah, it's pretty cool. Great tune.
Definitely.
Great tune that you
Definitely
chose,
great
Mr.
tune.
John. Yeah.
Yes.
I'm just going to turn some
Moving
lights on
down.
because all of a
Thank
sudden.
you very much
it's
for
getting-
covering for us, sir.
Well, it's two great tunes.
Yeah, definitely. Want to take a moment once again to mention to people, if you are interested in coming on the show here with me and Junior, all you need to do is simply send us an email at music@indierockradio.ca and send along your bio along with some MP3s directly. We do not accept any third-party stuff where we got to go into like GarageBand or
Yeah, some of
Spotify
it's
or
crazy,
things like
eh?
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you got to do the work, people. You want your music played on the station? We do our work. You can do yours.
Well, one example
yeah,
of
but so much.
Bling, I'll interrupt you there because I think you're right.
Yeah.
So we can do it for you. Just because I have so many, so I don't mean this impersonable to forgetting the gentleman's name, but we have a guest coming on that did everything correctly, that contacted me through one of my music pages there. I can't recall his band.
Yeah, John, I think there was a band or something. I
Michael,
think they had
MJM.
contacted you about bookings at the Rock Pile. And let's get that straight, folks. Junior is the MC of the Rock Pile. And yeah, he might know the people or whatever, but it really is up to the decision of the booking agent at the
Thank
Rock
you
Pile.
very much.
And Junior, can you give out the name of the contact at the Rock Pile if they are?
Yeah, that's
interested
not
in
a problem. So I appreciate you
Mhm.
saying that. And you know what? I love everybody. I do. I don't mean this disrespectful in
Mhm.
any shape or form. That's who I am, type deal. Some
Mhm.
can be a bit pushy, which sometimes through my time, I've never cared for that too much. So if they do it respectfully, then awesome. Then there's a chance of. So
Mhm.
yes, we want to state on this forum that I don't have a whole lot of say of any decisions that are made in regards to bands playing at the Rock Pile in Etobicoke. But yes, I am very both business wise and close friend. The main promoter there for the bigger bands, like we have Gilby Clark coming, Pat Travers, Lee Aaron, that stage. Then that's Steve Hogue. So the other person that's in charge of the bands of closer to, I think, of our audience to get them so we can get them on that next platform, guys, are
Mhm.
the friends that we had on recently. Anyway, you would speak to Tamara at the Rock Pile. So there's your two main promoters that will have any say on you getting on the stage at the Rock Pile. And trust me, I will say this. Yes, I talk a lot about the Rock Pile because it is a historic venue in our city. The walls of the Rock Pile, the list, I'll maybe send a video sometime, are endless for those that have. And it's they've treated me quite frankly like family. And this, guys, I'll end it on this. We've all in our lifetime been to so many venues, and things have gone on that suck. But I've only seen one incident, guys, of anybody acting up and or acting like, I'll say it, like an asshole. The treatment of all security, top drawer. I think they owe me about 50 grand for the plugs, though.
Yeah, that's it. All right, John, what was the name of the band that I contacted Junior, I think, and we have on our list?
MJM, Michael James.
Yeah, Michael James. MJM was the name of the band. I think I'd contacted you, and yeah, he sent
So
all
they will
submitted
be
his
on
stuff.
our show
Um,
on the 26th of June. On the 26th of May.
that's it.
Next
Okay.
week is we should have been plumbers.
Okay.
Okay. So who
And
do
that's
we
the
have
point
on
of
next week?
what you're saying, Bling. If they do the platform properly, then of course we love it. We just finished doing that and continue. And you've been doing it for years. We want to promote you
Yeah.
guys. So just we're asking you to do the platform correctly, and we'll rock it for you. Trust me.
Yeah, definitely. John, who's on next week?
Next week is we should have been plumbers.
We should have been.
That's a cool. I like that name.
What a cool name.
Very nice.
That's it.
Very nice
That's
people. I think it's a.
Oh my God.
I think it's a duo, but I think it's two ladies duo. So it's very
Oh, yeah?
good. You go look them up on YouTube, and you'll find some of the great songs that we got out there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm just
Hopefully
going away
they
from
show up
camera
with a
for
guitar.
a sec here.
We did drop a single this week. We dropped it on Tuesday on our station, but we had a little bit of an introduction with a little bit of commentary last night from 8 to 8:30 on Indie Rock Radio. If you were listening in, you would notice it was Old Soul. Well, let's get out there and support that indie group. We have two ways of doing it this weekend. The first being tomorrow night at Turbo House on St. Denis Street in Montreal. The doors open at 7. The show starts at 8. And Old Soul will be hitting the stage at 8:30. If they're one of the first bands that are going to be on that night. And if you don't have time and you're on the West Island, head out to Beaconsfield. As this weekend coming up on Saturday, there are 126 garage sales in the area. And Old Soul will be playing on one of those balconies. They're playing 11 to 30 to 12.
Mm-hmm.
So
And
why
then
not?
plus many other bands that will be performing
There's
over
a
there.
lot of West
people
Island bands that are playing that we don't know all of them. They won't. They didn't send me too much about them. I've been trying to reach out to a couple people about them, but
Yeah.
haven't heard. I haven't heard.
Well, perhaps maybe then, now that you're saying that, John, what might be an idea then? Why don't we come up with a platform with regards to, I got to say it, what the hell, like commercial radio on who's playing. And then people can send that. So maybe that's an idea that we could do in a platform.
Definitely.
And if it's on our sheet, then it's on our sheet. So tonight in Montreal, playing at the blah 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 blah, and playing.
Well, definitely.
Tonight,
I mean,
you know.
that's usually what I take care of, and as long as I got the information, I could post it up on the
Yeah.
site. Have you noticed the new page that we put together?
Have I noticed
Yeah,
myself?
we have a fan page now. We've been getting a lot of emails from our listeners, and a lot of their comments and stuff, and a good positive vibe, some constructive stuff. But
Right.
we've decided to post all these letters up onto our main website, and you could just look under fan mail. And if you do have any comments about this show or many of the other shows, or just the station itself, and you have some kudos or something that you've you got bothers you or whatever, as we were saying earlier, um, definitely make your way to the page, and all you
Oh
got to
no,
do
we love
is send
critics.
us an email at admin. Rock Radio. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that,
Love
man. You
critics.
know what? I say positive or negative. Listen, if you're a fucking troll, we know you're a fucking troll. Okay, so don't even waste our time with the bullshit. Okay, but
That's
if you
it.
got some constructive criticism, good, positive, or negative, you know what I mean? Uh, um, we don't mind. You know what? It just helps us to grow and give you the best that we possibly can here at the station. And
Just don't
we
be an
appreciate
asshole
all the
about it.
fan
Is all
members
we're
we
saying.
give you.
Just
That's
don't
it.
be an
That's it. Or
asshole
else we'll
about
give you, or else we'll give you the polite fuck off.
it. There.
There you go. See there.
Well,
Finally,
hey,
we blended a joke together. Yes.
yeah.
The
Did
dough
you
is
get the polite?
rising. Yeah.
Well, back in
Yeah.
the day, they used to call it the hook, right? Did you get the hook?
Yeah.
So maybe that can happen
Yeah.
that way. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's been great, guys, and I'm obviously hearing from you guys there that things are kind of opening up, and we're kind of getting there. I actually, as I said maybe earlier, missed because I was busy taking care of my day job now. A show that was in Barrie that I was invited to get down to, but so some other ones are coming up in a lot of different ways. Again, I was saying earlier with Scott on here. That's what it has become, and it sounds like that in Quebec too, meaning that it was only Canadian that was going on in regards to shows mostly, but not even of a bigger caliber. This is no offense to and what we're talking about with all the bands that we support, like Playhouse and so on, right? But in a brand name, which accounts, that's how these guys get there. So they matter a lot. So there wasn't anything going on. So we are getting there, as I stated. Our first, I don't know what's going on your way, in a bigger brand name is Anvil. And then we have Pat Travers, and now we have on the American side, back to what Scott and what we were talking about. So in the opening of with the American band slowly coming back, we are getting there, guys.
Definitely.
We are getting there.
Definitely. There's still a lot of people that are even though they're performing and stuff, they're still a little bit leery about this whole COVID thing or whatever. When Judas Priest played in Montreal recently, of course, I've interviewed Halford before, and I wanted to go backstage and do another interview, and they said, well, due to COVID or whatever, they're not really doing that right now. So
yeah.
So just because it looks like everything is back to normal, it is not, folks. We're just living in a different world. We do have the restraints released from us, but we do still have to use our head when we go out there.
Another example, guys. Another example. We just had in my backyard here, so to speak. Rama, Casino Rama is 30 minutes from me. Okay. Anyway, kind of in my backyard. Avril Lavigne just played there. Okay.
Yeah, she
And
just played here
had to
on
cancel
Saturday.
her tour. Had to cancel her tour because of COVID. Somebody got COVID.
Yeah, she played here last Tuesday.
Yep.
Yeah, lucky we didn't get backstage passes for Judas Priest.
Well, this new world is with the whole point,
I would have
John.
turned around and said to
you know,
Rob, "What's it like getting your ass kicked by Queensrÿche?" They came
Oh, my
out
God.
running, and they finished running. They were flying through the air at the end of the show. And you,
wow.
Oh my God. Well, it reminds me of when I went to go see Judas Priest and Bon Jovi was kicking ass. That was just 2 weeks prior to when Slippery When Wet. You were there, John. I was there. Old Forum in Montreal. And I swear to God, they took the fucking stadium by storm. I walked in. We never usually go to see that backup band type of thing, you know? But somebody came out and says, "You got to get inside there and check this shit out." And when I got in there, John Bon Jovi was just like swinging from fucking rafters, and the place was going nuts. And they came back 2 weeks later and played as the headliner. And Judas Priest was the headline act at that show.
Yeah, but that album kicked off like just crazy. And even Richie Sambora recently thinks that it kind of became the demise because of the industry. I mean, that's all they did and all that. That's, you know, I can, you saw that tour. Well, good for you guys. I did not.
I did.
Yeah.
Freaking Turbo Tour. Oh.
It was a Turbo Tour.
Yeah, Turbo
when they had
Tour,
that big robot.
Yeah,
Listen, you know, in our times, it is funny now because now, you know, when you go see shows, it's all about fucking dancers and special effects or cool little LED screens behind and so on. And, but back then or whatever, we had cool props. I mean, if you talk about like ELO, they had that big spaceship that opened up and everything, you know.
That's
and
right. Yeah.
Judas Priest was known for that. You know, like they had this big robot that came out, and what's it called? The two arms would sit there. KK Downing, Glenn Tipton would both get inside each arms, and they would be raised up. And it was like such a cool fucking thing back then. Nowadays, you look at it and you're going, "Oh, that's pretty lame," you know. It's like
the only tour I can say a Priest that I prayed and I prayed and I prayed that they would do it. It's a ballad, and I said I've seen them in the past where they didn't really do their ballad. Defenders of the Faith, very upsetting tour because they didn't do Night Comes Down. And what does Priest do? Priest just like basically slap me in the face. They come out, and what is it? It's the best Priest ballad ever. Out in the cold. Just blew me away. If I could have, I would have jumped on stage and kissed them all. And I was that close.
This is in 84.
Yeah.
Now, as you know, Hell Bent for Leather is the song of songs. That's when Halford is known to come out on his Harley Davidson, right? Just before. Yeah. And there was an issue back then with customs. Supposedly a lot of their equipment and stuff got fucking held at Canada Customs or something. So that night, they literally took a fucking spray paint can of silver paint, painted up a Honda, taped some fucking microphones to the exhaust, and he came out on that night. Well, that was the only disappointing part of the show or whatever. Yeah. It was. You imagine? And I spoke to Halford about it off air or whatever. And he says, because that Harley's been with them for fucking years. You know that the Harley that they come out on stage with, it's their iconic that thing. You know, one day when the band's gone and the member, imagine how much that Harley Davidson's going to go for in auction. Hey?
Oh, I don't even want to go there. Look, and I've watched too many episodes of just Storage Wars alone, and it's fucking amazing.
It'll probably end up in a fucking storage facility. It probably will.
But anyway, that one in Vegas there. What's that one called again? Pawn whatever.
Pawn Stars, yeah.
The one, anyway, just recently, a Jimi Hendrix guitar. I mean, my point is, how in the hell does this stuff end up sometimes in some of these most, I don't even know, I can't find the words, in the most wickedest, weirdest places for us in music history is beyond my fucking thinking. That's craziness.
Yeah. Have you ever seen the Canadian version of Storage Wars?
Oh yeah,
not the Canadian one. It was the one in the States, I think, because it was that there's this rich guy who collects cars. I forget his he's an art.
Yeah, Barry.
Barry is also a little rock star himself, and he ends up having
cars, though.
Rick Nielsen from Cheap Trick.
That's
on
right.
there, and he went for his storage facility. And my God, you want to go see a guy who's got a collection of fucking guitars and some really weird outfits and shit like that.
Have you ever seen Cheap Trick live? Have you guys seen Cheap Trick live?
I've seen them 5 times.
They cook live.
Yeah, the first time I ever saw Cheap Trick, they opened up for Kiss in '76.
Yeah, well, that's he helped them along with Rush at that same time. And to see Buddy Carlos do his solo because he was famous for those huge drumsticks. Look
at him. He's got that cigarette in his mouth, the sunglasses on, just like sitting behind her like some school teacher. But just listen to Live at Budokan, and we have that playing on the station. Just the intro, he starts off as like, and then all of a sudden there's a part where he starts wailing, right, and then he starts pounding, boom, bum, 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 just fucking adding that in, and he's just. Man,
it's just the age thing.
Great rocking.
It's just the age thing of why Buddy Carlos is not with. He's the only original member not still playing with them. They're still touring, for God's sakes.
They're coming here.
Cheap Trick. They're in my top 10 out of all the concerts that I've seen. Cheap Trick, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I got to meet
with ZZ Top, and then they're coming back in September with Rod Stewart.
So okay, hang on. Are you telling me that you are going to see Rod Stewart, John?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
I'm not going to pay that.
But if Cheap Trick's coming,
we're not going to go there. We will in a sec here, but hang on though, because like we discussed, I think it was last week or one of the shows, I have seen him live, and of course that's changed in regards to the prices today. But I look at one of the truest, biggest fucking rock stars in the history of rock and roll is Rod Stewart. He was an original Rolling Stone. Did you guys know that, by the way?
No, I do know that him I do know that him and the other guitarist of the Stones. What's his name? Ron Wood.
Ron Wood.
They got that
faces.
Same hairdo, shall we say? That's been with them for like. I wonder if they patent that shit.
Bling's got no hair, so it doesn't matter.
That's the faces. But no, in his time, look at Ben still he rocks. But I agree with you. But it's not just Rod. Even though like I said, I know some stories through Glass Tigers. I was saying, John, last time. I think it's sick the amount, and I don't want to blame the bands. So I don't want to. But the prices, I think it's almost just, it is. It's ridiculous. It just, I don't
ridiculous, especially when he pays everybody at scale, as you were saying, right? He pays everybody at scale.
Again, I'm not even blaming Rod Stewart because he's not the only one. The fucking Def Leppard fucking tour is ridiculous. $2,400 for to be front stage. Fuck off.
Yeah, but you have to look behind you have to look a little bit behind the scenes in this for Rod Stewart. He's playing one night at the Bell Center.
Right?
That's one night. That's not a month. That's not a week. That's not a year. That's 1 month.
Yes.
He is paying $3.9 million to rent.
There.
Def Leppard in Toronto with all the other guys.
Yeah.
You know how much they're bringing in?
Yes, I do.
It's costing each band, Def Leppard, Joan Jett, Poison, and Motley Crue, it's costing each band $5 million to rent.
And you know what? It's a blown up fucking figure. If anybody knows anything in the fucking promoting business, it's a blown up figure. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. It is. Well, it
Everything's
has
going
to
up.
be.
Don't
Come
even
on.
get me
Why is
started.
it all of a sudden? I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I know the major promoters too, and riggers and sound people. I mean, like I said, Jeff or from April Wine. He's our tech guy at the Rock Pile as well, with regards to April Wine. Like I say. But look at all of that figures. That's bullshit. That's promoters and Ticketmaster or some kind of crap
That's
type
where it
deal. I
comes
do
from.
not
It
blame the
comes from
band.
the
I
promoter. The
can't. I
promoter
refuse to.
sets the price. The promoter makes the most, and it's sad.
Yeah, it's getting sick out there, man. What can I tell you? A
Well,
lot
I'll
of
tell you an
gouging going
example,
on.
guys.
I mean,
But here's what I'm saying. I'll tell you an example. I don't know how much, again, you guys in your time have been around on the other side of things. But here's an example. Okay, so there was a band that was a tribute, Michael Jackson tribute band that was hired to play the Civic Arena in Summerside, Prince Edward Island. Okay.
okay.
And they were paid a figure of $200,000 because of this blown up crap that I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And blah, blah, blah. Listen to this. Because of the individual, the way that the contract was written up, it was whether the band plays or not. Now, for whatever reason that had gone on behind all this, the concert never did happen. And yet the individual that was the promoter that put on the show was still paid $200,000 on a show that didn't happen.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we've heard all these stories, guys, over the years. I don't know. Is it the manager of these bands? Is it who's taken all this son of a bitch and pie? Because I refuse to believe. I don't know about you guys, and maybe that's why we're upset about it, John and Bling. That at least I refuse to believe the cost of putting that together is fucking bullshit. There's no way it can cost that kind of money. It's blown up figure. There's no way.
Molson wants their cut, and they're going to do anything they can to get it, and that's why the prices are high.
Yeah, but John, that's fair, okay? But why is a rigger? I know one, like I say personally, it does all our big show, Boost the Heart to you name it. They're not getting paid like $80 an hour at an inflated price to be a rigger. I mean, it starts from the ground up, and you are right. Why does the venue have to? Why are they charging? We would want to know as a fact, I guess, that the venue to rent it for that night is that price, because that's where all of this starts, right?
Yeah.
Any venue, what does it cost to put a show on? If it's that kind of money, well, then now it's true. It is up to the promoter and any kind of this fucking business. You have to charge it a certain amount to cover the cost of that. Never mind the advertising, the blah 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 blah. Right? But I can't believe it's that kind of a figure. I don't.
Yeah,
I can't.
Look, I feel bad for people like Madonna.
Like who?
Like Madonna. She loves Montreal.
Did you say Madonna? Oh, fuck, sorry. I'm going to interrupt.
Madonna in Rock Radio.
But she came here and it cost her, for 4 nights, it cost her $1.6 million a night to book the Bell Center. Okay?
Wow.
She sold out. She made her money. But you know what? So Mr. Molson and Mr. Rockman and Mr. Chuck and Roll can sit on their ass and pick their friggin' ass and forget half of her stage show in Point Claire.
Yeah.
Her stage show didn't show up till a day after. All the people that had tickets to the first night didn't have a full show because half the shit was stuck in Rockman. What did Rockman do to Judas Priest?
Yeah.
Didn't get the paperwork done so that they could get their pyrotechnics for their show. Truck and Roll.
I think the ticket stubs.
That's what it is.
The ticket stubs should now change, I guess, in regards to same as the Bon Jovi thing to a degree. But anyway, I should say that if you're not happy with the show, you should be able to at least get a percentage of your money back on your ticket.
Wait a minute. I don't know which band it was, but I saw something in the news this week, and it was a band that literally banned cell phones from the fucking show.
Yeah, but it's not fair.
Because you remember back in the day, we weren't allowed to bring cameras. We weren't allowed to bring any of those sort of things in on a concert or whatever. Now, all of a sudden, everybody's got one of fucking these, right? And what are they doing? Every single person is flooding fucking YouTube with their video of the concert and stuff.
Yeah.
So, to me, I get the point of the banning these, and I honestly think they should ban any sort of filming from the show, because that's their bread and butter. If I'm going to watch it on YouTube and I got a pretty decent sound system with my computer, you know what I mean? Why would I go fucking pay that much money to go see the show when I could just watch it on YouTube?
Hey?
You know?
Right.
There should be a copyright infringement on that. You know what I mean?
This new change world, even what Scott was talking about, I don't know. It's I don't know. I don't know what to say in regards to. I think I guess that the shame is for those that are still out there rocking, including the ones that we're referring to at this point, because there is a lot more. The shame is for those that will pay the amount of money. God love them, I guess, sort of, but it's not for me. So I'll just count my lucky stars that because of the years in the industry, the amount of bands that I've seen and so on, lovely. For the times paying or not, I guess, like Pat Travers and I we said, we just talked kind of man to man there. We want to be thankful that we had it the best. That's all.
Well,
hey, see this is what you see at shows now. Hey, this is what you see at shows now. You know when they're doing, hey,
because Junior. Rush was in that too. Rush's last show that they did, the last tour they did ever. Okay.
Right.
Tickets were starting at here in Montreal. Tickets were starting at $125 and heading as high as $400.
Is that right?
In the same boat. They were
right. Okay. Yeah.
Public. For front row seat, you're going to pay $500. No, for front row seat, it's $1,000.
So I guess it does come down to the and not that they're all out there, but obviously greedy promoters, because these guys, we know, I've done this. Look at that. You know what the cost that the band is asking from management. So it is the promoter in charging the amount of money that they are charging.
I am grateful for my wife, because my wife bought my ticket to the last Rush show. I'm grateful for her, and I told her I didn't want. And I was 7th row on the floor, and she paid $500. $500 for my ticket, because she knew.
And hearing that,
I want to go off track again here, as I was saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
Some of the artists though in the live shows, though, Bling. When I seen Daughtry, he got everybody. He wanted everybody to bring this out, and some of the bands, they want you to bring up your phone, so they use that as a form of kind of stars for an effect. Yeah. So bring up their phones is what you'll hear.
Listen, we're old boys. We're the old school network or whatever.
Maybe that's the problem. Maybe that's what it is.
No.
Jesus, I remember paying 25 cents to see fucking Buddy Holly back in the day.
No. Look, I got to do my old man bitching thing right now, okay? Because you know what? Today's generation has become just so pussy. What is it about just flicking on a fucking flashlight on your camera during Home Sweet Home? Right. Nobody will ever know the glory of using one of these during a concert, burning your fucking fingers for hours as the song's going in. They're going into an extended version of it. You know what I mean? That's true rock and roll right here.
And your fingers.
Never mind. At some of the venues, you're not allowed to bring them in.
Yeah.
At security, they'll take your lighters from you.
Yeah, but you heard about Jack White?
No, what?
He's touring, eh?
Yeah. Jack White?
Yeah.
Oh, you mean up the stripes?
Yeah, White Stripes.
Oh,
he's touring.
So?
He gives you a bag.
Has he got a bass player? Has he got a bass player yet?
As you walk into the show, he gives you a bag this big.
Good one,
right?
On the top of the bag, you open up the bag. If you're caught not obeying his law, you're kicked out, and it's $10,000 fine. You take your phone.
Yeah, who's going to end up paying that in a fine? I'll give you a break.
Seriously, while we're on that, good direction here. What is it with fucking bands having fucking attitudes, throwing people out of their shows and spitting on them and all kinds of stuff. Or with like one of the biggest fucking assholes about this stuff is none other than Axl Rose.
Oh, yeah.
He came here one time with Guns N' Roses for a concert at Parc Jean Drapeau, I think it was. And
Is that when he jumped in
they
the crowd?
literally walked off stage. No, he walked off stage. These people were paying tons of money. He literally walked off stage within the first 20 minutes because he wasn't happy about something somebody did in the audience and just fucking refused to do the show. For the longest fucking time, Guns N' Roses could not play in Montreal because of this. Because Montreal, I told you, is a very finicky crowd when it comes to concerts and stuff like that. They could probably be the best fucking show you've ever been to, right? And I'm sure in Toronto they have their moments and stuff too. But what I'm saying is like playing at the I'll give you a fine example. You follow wrestling, right, Junior?
Yeah, I do actually. Yeah.
Monday Night Raw. Remember when Hulk Hogan was part of NWA and all that stuff, and he was bad.
Yeah,
Black
the New
Hogan,
World Order. Yeah.
And then he came back and became Hulk Hogan again. And that night, where the crowd just went fucking ballistic, they don't justify it on the video. Trust me, I was there that night. That fucking place, I've never heard a stadium so loud with fucking applause and roar. Hulk Hogan himself was just fucking taken, because it's all part scripted and all that stuff. He was just fucking taken back by the love people were showing from, like, Hulkamania. Literally, I think Montreal had a lot to do with it too, back in the day, because some of the roots of the WWE, of course, the McMahon family started off. What was it, Grand Prix wrestling back in the day?
Yeah, because even Emile Dupuis and there's a whack of the French Connection. There's a whack of people. There were many people actually in that time that thought that Andre the Giant, just because of the French thing, thought that he was from Quebec, because I guess he kind of lived there, didn't he?
No, yeah, he was from France, but he did live in Montreal, in Quebec.
That's what I'm saying. Yes, yeah.
But the thing was, there was and this is many years ago. I mean, wrestling back then got real crazy. It really got serious sometimes too. There is a story. I don't know the exact thing, but they said that there was a fight that happened right in front of the old Montreal Forum between Andre the Giant and I think Killer Kowalski or something. It was somebody, but it was a real fight that ended up in the streets, basically. Nowadays, when you see that shit on WWE.
Hang on, Bling, pause for a second. Because you brought up Killer Kowalski. Here's a funny coincidence. He is from, when I show you my backyard, 2 streets over is where he is from, Killer Kowalski, right here in Penetanguishene, Ontario. Yes.
No shit. Well, you were talking about Niagara Falls earlier. I remember the last time I went there, I went to a restaurant. There's an old Italian wrestler that ran this with his family or something. He was an ex-wrestler, and this guy, like, you look at him, their build back then was like so different. This guy was like old, but he still had that square fucking box muscle physique or whatever.
Oh, and I know who you're saying.
Not with,
it wasn't Emile Dupuis, no.
No, there was an Italian guy. I think him and Dino Bravo used to wrestle back in the day, or maybe Dino Bravo's father or something.
Because I tell you why. Back to actually, what's it called? The Canadian Pickers. When they did an episode in Niagara Falls, there's a memory of. I just can't. Anyway, wrestling's been quite the thing that's gone. I've been a fan for years, and I get teased the odd time. But to me, I kind of always said this. Yeah. Of course, we know that they're not hitting them, let's say 100% for real, but the physical abilities of what they do and the storylines are what attractive. Yeah. Well, it's what I found attractive. I mean, we can get real. And look, if these guys hit themselves like that for real every time, then they wouldn't be able to do these tours and such. So the shows and the storylines behind it, I think has lost its edge. No pun intended from our Toronto Canadian boy Edge, but over the last, I'm going to say, Bling, honestly, the last 6, maybe more years. It's lost
Yeah.
its edge.
Yeah, I did.
So,
It
but I
ain't
still
like
watch
the
it. I still watch SmackDown and Raw though for
days.
whatever I call it, my soap opera.
Yeah. Well, listen, when you got great characters, you had The Rock, Stone Cold Steve Austin, fucking
Yes.
Rowdy Roddy Piper was one guy, like,
Oh, and I used to
uh,
hate the motherfucker.
the
Oh my
Undertaker.
God, I
Oh,
used to just
Rowdy.
hate that son of a
I
bitch.
know, but
And then, of
that
course,
was so cool about him.
years later,
Mhm.
he in finding out who he really was, he's gone to heaven, as you know. But
Yeah.
man, oh man, I almost felt guilty about the times there that I fucking hated him. Type
Yeah.
deal. He played this. Now we know because
Yeah,
it's
he
so
had a
long ago.
rough life.
He
He was an
played that
orphan.
part.
He had
Yeah.
this place became his family, man. It was the only place he had that you could really
Yeah.
truly call home or whatever. He had his
Yeah. I
parents
just
abandoned
recently
him, all this
watched
stuff.
his
He was
bio.
native also, eh? He wasn't
Yeah.
really, he was Irish, but he had some native blood in him and all that stuff. And yeah, man, a lot of, and you know what? I have to give praise to, of course, Jim the Anvil. And
Yes.
and
Bret Hart.
the whole Hart family, Bret Hart.
Yeah. The dungeon.
That
The
night also
dungeon.
where he and it's
The screw
controversy or
job
whatever.
in Montreal.
The screw job in Montreal, you got it. But no, his father alone or whatever trained so many brilliant wrestlers
Yeah.
or whatever over the
Yes.
years. In fact,
Dude.
they have some holds or whatever. You do not want to get in, like that old man could put you in a fucking hold and make you out conscious in a matter of 2 seconds or whatever. He had some fucking moves on him. Great wrestlers like Benoit and stuff, which is a sad tragedy also because that guy.
No, but there is but the list. You're right. But there's an incredible list out of that. So yeah, it's been. I don't know. Did you do that also as a kid? Did you go to what I call the smaller rinks and see the All-Star Wrestling as well, Bling?
Well, no. What it was is this. This is the thing. This is how my introduction of wrestling came about. Okay.
Right.
My grandmother.
You got your gas kicked by a girl.
No, old French Canadian.
Right.
Old French Canadian grandmother from the Magdalen Islands here.
All right.
Refused to speak English, but old school Quebecer type of thing,
Okay.
Madeleine Cormier. And my
All right.
grandmother was a beautiful, very classy woman. But when Saturdays came, 12 o'clock rolled around, that little wooden TV, 32-inch, whatever, she'd get there, she'd be fucking yelling, cussing.
Oh, it was
smacking the
incredible.
screen,
Yes. What a
smacking
memory
the
that was.
screen. And
Yes.
just, the characters played out. Mad Dog, they hated him. They, Adrian and Madonna.
Mad Dog Basham.
Yeah, the whole works. Oh, yeah, they fucked the villains. They hated them. They loved the heroes. And so this was, and then I remember seeing pamphlets and every time these pamphlets were given around, like the little posters for like my father would go to these wrestling things, but he'd never fucking bring me. But he'd bring back these posters, and all you seen was just guys with blood dripping from their fucking forehead the whole time, Chairs. I mean, wrestling got crazy back then. There was chairs, there was pipes broken on people's heads, and I mean, just crazy. Now, the trick, by the way, they hide a razor blade. They tape a razor blade to their finger, and what they do, just so that they don't get scarred, is they slice. You see, when you crush the forehead down, you've got your crinkle lines, right? What they do is they crush it down, and they'll cut in between those lines, right? So that way, after when the cut heals, they're not going to see any scar after. Although
interesting. No, I never really.
And the reason why they cut the forehead is because the forehead bleeds the most, believe it or not. So learned a lot about that stuff or whatever. But when I started really getting into it was during the 80s when, WWF was coming about and, like they had all the day, one of my favorites or whatever was Hacksaw Jim Duggan, with that 2x4.
Oh, yes.
Right? He was great.
Yeah.
Stone Cold. I liked Stone Cold, man. I always thought, beer drinking motherfucking redneck.
I was a huge
Goldberg.
Ultimate Warrior fan.
Oh, him? Yeah, he was psycho, but he was a beast, that boy. And he could fucking wrestle. That's for sure. But you know what? A lot of them, you have to give kudos to Mexico though, because Mexico did
Oh,
really
absolutely. Eddie
bring a lot of
Guerrero
the
and a bunch of them there.
Yeah, that area was what really brought the acrobatics and the style,
Yeah.
the extra thing they were looking for in wrestling. The acrobatics is coming from the top rope, Macho Man with the elbow, and then you had Jimmy
Yeah.
Superfly Snuka.
Oh,
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I'm telling you, you got lust in your black heart, Hogan. Oh, yeah. Snap into a Slim
Yeah,
Jim.
so they had way better. So you know what? It's funny that we're talking like this too, because once again, way better storylines and so on, and obviously not to knock the stars
We
that they
should
have
do a
now.
wrestling show. It would be fun, because we'd have a fun time going on like this, because it is now.
We could state that. We
It is
surprised
now-
on how we could reach out and actually get one of the wrestlers on.
Is now 14 minutes into the Valley, and you don't want to mess with the Valley.
All right.
So we're going to have to drop this off, and we'll be back at you next week, folks. Same time, same place, 6 to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here live on Facebook, YouTube, and of course, Twitter. Then you can catch us on Sunday nights from 6 to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which now is going to be 6 to 9:14 Eastern Standard Time, because we're 14 minutes in, or maybe 15. But anyways, we thank you very much. We want to thank our guests tonight, Junior.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for getting on. It's great to see you guys and whatnot. And we're still working on all kinds of fun things, and great to get back to show. So we look forward to talking to you guys next week. I'm getting busier with this new job I have. So it seems like I have the Thursday off. So everything should be going forwardness and everything. So let's just keep everybody safe and enjoy and have fun. And it looks like summer is upon us. Thank you for tuning in tonight.
That's it. And if you like the sunglass look or whatever, we don't mind doing it for you each and every week. We can even change it up. Also, we're available if anybody wants us to promote bands or t-shirts of any sorts or whatever. We are looking for sponsors or whatever. We don't mind,
There you
we
go.
get paid to get laid. You know what I mean?
Oh, God. So let's go. This is our third week in saying this, so it's going to come to this. So let's build this up. So will this be the week that Bling has real sex?
I don't know. Still not happening. No.
Okay.
Okay,
that answers that point for the audio version. Hang on of this. So, like I said, we are going to continue this till one day all the fans, everybody are going to find out that Bling actually had real human contact sex,
and his dick fell off. Bang! That's it. So, anyways, we're going to end on that note. Yeah, Bling.
Good night, folks. Thanks for tuning in.
Thank you very much, and special thanks to After the Lounge for stopping by here tonight, Scott. Thank you very much, and we'll continue on with the music now here on IndieRockRadio.ca. Coming up, The Valley. That's for Sunday night, folks. The Valley with John Blakemore. Thanks a lot to John also for popping into the show and giving us some concert listings there. See you all, folks. Take care. We're waving for some of the people who are listening to the audio version. We are waving. Okay, so just visualize it. Okay. All right. Take care. See you next week.